everyone, and welcome. What a beautiful day here in Boston, USA for stop number 2 of the 2024 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, and to celebrate stop number 100 since the World Series launched, folks, back in 2009. It has come a long way. I am Trace Worthington alongside Joey Zuber. He's a sport expert. He's a champion. He knows all about the stuff.
Yeah, I know a few things.
Yeah, it's all about cliff
I've seen
diving.
a couple of things over the years.
I mean, how has this series evolved to 100 stops in 15 years, 10 years for the women?
It's just amazing. If I think about the series when it very first started, I mean, it's incredible that it's still going and thriving as well. So we've seen so much evolution. We've seen new dives, new characters, fantastic locations. In particular, I love looking at the off-the-cliff rounds, so we've seen a lot of drama, a lot of thrills and spills over the years, and it's great to celebrate it here at this competition in Boston.
The ICA building, the Institute of Contemporary Art, that is where the platforms are built. And for more, we're going to go to Dave O.C., who's out on the field reporting for us. Dave, what's up?
Good afternoon, gents. So I think actually in the last time we were here, I mentioned I was somewhere where I should be, which was in the judges' dock. Today, I'm somewhere I definitely should be, and that is right next to these crazy platforms over at Boston Harbor. And I have to say, the sun is beginning to shine. The divers are all in a good mood. Yesterday was some brilliant diving, and round 2 and 3, I think are going to be crazy exciting. But just look how mental this is. I'm quite literally standing on the edge of my heart is beating.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. I mean, it's such a beautiful area, and the weather is perfect. We talked to some of the divers earlier. It's just a small breeze out there, but it is going to be perfect. We have 12 women, 12 men, and this is round number 1. We're going live for round 2. Round 1 was yesterday. Thanks, Joey. Round 2 and 3 are today. There's so many rounds, right?
Yeah.
But all 4 rounds count. All 4 rounds are super important to this competition. Every single thing counts here.
Yeah, they are. So in total, like you said, 4 rounds. So the first round's always that nice, simple, graceful dive, the required dive rounds. Round 2, which we're going to watch today, is the intermediate round. So you're starting to see some more somersaults and twists, but it's not going to get too crazy. But round 3 is going to get pretty crazy. We've got some huge dives. And every single year, I find that we're always seeing new dives and athletes trying out new skills. And once again, we've talked about this in the past. I mean, they're doing dives that I didn't think we would see today. I mean, it's incredible how things evolve and how you always find a way to improve your technique or your training or your strength and conditioning. There's always a way to push the limits and improve.
And we have seen so many improvements throughout the years. One guy who won't be here that has really pioneered and pushed the sport is Gary Hunt, and we won't see him here. He's competed actually in the Olympics in 10-meter platform synchro.
Feels weird without him, right?
It feels weird without him as we look at the American James Lichtenstein. So the sole American as a permanent diver on the series. James did very well at stop number 1. He always surprises us.
Yeah.
3rd place finish there in Greece at stop number 1. This is stop number 2. He's got his mom here. His parents, his folks are kind of checking him out live and having some fun.
I mean, he hasn't been in the scene all that long, and 3 podium finishes. Comes from that fantastic elite trampolining background and then transferred over to the discipline of diving. There's the Laboo Meister.
Steve Laboo, the legendary diver who came off our World Series just a couple years ago, retired. Now he's down at the high diving arena or facility down in Fort Lauderdale, running that program down there. So
Steve Laboo on the right there, bit of photo bombing by Jonathan Predders, nothing wrong with that.
But it is going to be a fun competition and a beautiful day here in Boston. And this is, again, the capital city of Massachusetts, located northeast of the United States of America, for those new to it. And the Seaport district, that's where we are located right now. Rapidly growing area, very modern area of this old historic city of Boston. And a lot of shops, trends, bars, all kinds of cool stuff down in this area. And to host the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, stop number 100 in its history is pretty special to the Boston area.
No, absolutely. And the cool thing about these urban competition settings is you can really have the spectators come up close and personal. You'll see some of the spectators inside the ICA building looking out through those glass windows. That's a fantastic view as you watch the divers whiz by. And then, of course, to the sides, there's some pretty cool apartment buildings. We're actually talking about that yesterday. It would be great if we had a commentary booth up in one of those apartments. Just FYI, just putting it out there, everybody, if we can do it from there next time.
So again, This, the 100th stop of the World Series since 2009. It's the 52nd for the women, who's been competing on the World Series exactly 10 years ago from Texas when they started there. And it's great to see the ladies on here. And, of course, Rhiannon Iflin, we're going to see her, the most dominant female of all time. She came onto the scene in 2016. She came on and won, an event as a wild card diver. And then, boom, now she's the best ever and has won 7 World Series titles. We're going to see her shortly. But first, if you guys are new to Red Bull cliff diving, here's how it all works in the competition format.
Each Red Bull cliff diving event features 8 permanent and 4 wildcard divers per gender. There are 4 rounds of diving with varying levels of difficulty. The panel of 5 judges has less than 3 seconds to evaluate the parts of each dive. The judges then award scores from 0 to 10. The highest and lowest scores are eliminated, and the remaining 3 added together. This total, multiplied by the degree of difficulty, gives the dive score. And all 4 dives are added together for the event score. Finally, series points are awarded at every event, with a bonus point for the best dive of the competition. At the end of the series, the divers with the highest series points are awarded the King Kahikili Trophy.
The King Kahikili Trophy.
Yeah.
Oh. 5 men have won the King Kahikili Trophy. Konstantin Popovich comes into this season with his name etched on it. Gary Hunt has pretty much won most of them. Throughout the years, he's won 10.
10.
And
it'll take a while to break that record, I think.
And 2 women, including Rhiannon Iflin, who's won it 7 times. We'll see her shortly. Now, again, folks, Trace Worthington, Joey Zuber, live from Boston for the 2nd stop of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, and to celebrate stop number 100 since the launch in 2009. We are live on YouTube. We have a chat room going right here, and we're looking at it right in front of me right now. So if you guys have any questions, we'll do our best to answer those questions along the way. I can tell you right now that we will start with 12 women and then 12 men. This will be round 2 for the women, round 2 for the men. Then we'll move on to round 3 for both genders following that. Now, round 4, the big round, the most important round, because that caps things off, and we'll do our trophy presentation after that because all 4 rounds count. But that'll be tomorrow, folks, on Red Bull TV, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time here in Boston. That'll be 7:05 CET over in Europe. So we want you guys to tune in then and check it out, but have fun today watching it live with the women starting first. I already see some people weighing in here, Joey, on our chat room. Just a lot of fire. I see a lot of fire on
fire, love heart, fire, love heart, fire, love heart. And once again, come in with your questions. If there's anything that you ever wondered about the sport, any questions whatsoever, we're willing to answer that. We'll do our best to keep scrolling through and see what you're coming up with here today. Temperature's definitely starting to warm up. That's what we like for the athletes, keeping those muscles nice and loose and limber.
And so Ellie Smart will kick things off for the women. That's who you're looking at right there. So one of the Americans, a 28-year-old in her 33rd Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series start. So that's the top of the ICA building. So the women's platform, folks, so high up there, 21 meters, 70 feet. So that's what they're looking at, dropping into the harbor area here in the Seaport district. Ellie's had some fun doing some Red Bull projects, including a lighthouse dive just earlier this week. So it's all over social media, hers and obviously Red Bull Cliff Diving. So check that out. And Joey, what's going to be the key now? We're at the 2nd stop of the season, and there's 8 stops in total. I'll tell everybody where those stops are here shortly, but what's it going to take? I mean, obviously fitness and stamina for 8 stops is the biggest thing. You got to stay healthy if you want to win the series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think in the back of everyone's mind, it's like, okay, I've got 8 stops. I've got to make sure I can last all the way through it. But you do have to take a 1 dive at a time, a 1 competition at a time approach. But it's not easy. In the back of your mind thinking, okay, this is going to be hard on my body. on top of, the physical load, the impact, it's up to 10 G-forces. Takes a lot of load on the legs, on the back. Of course, all the traveling as well. Sometimes that's not easy. As most of us have traveled at one point, changing time zones, all of those things. But Ellie Smart there ramping up the crowd.
Yeah, I love
engaged. We like to see. She's a real go-getter. Always got lots of projects. As you were mentioning before, those helicopter dives, diving off the lighthouse, a little bit of ice plunging as well. I think that was in Norway.
She'll throw the chamois down. That's just to dry off the body, because obviously, Joey, you got to put your hands on your knees and whatever it is to make those flips and twists happen. So the chamois dry it off and then throwing it down there below, so it'll be available to her after she gets out of the water.
So watching Ellie there now, you can see her. She's actually using her arms, pointing. She's getting the safety divers into the position that she likes. So the athletes like to have them in a certain position to help them see a little better and to make them feel more comfortable. Once again, they are there for the safety of the divers, splashing the water to help the athletes see the surface, to adjust for the landing at those tremendous speeds. 71 kilometers per hour, around about 50 miles per hour. Only about 2.6, 2.7 seconds in the air.
Into the harbor goes Ellie Smart to kick things off for the second round of the women's competition. Very nicely done. I was talking to the safety divers earlier, so the water's a little murky, and you can see that with our camera shot right here. So, Ellie Smart doing a good job. What are the big questions here from Lisa? Is there a physiological reason the women dive from a lower platform than the men? That's one of the big questions out there, Joey.
Okay, so to put it out there, so the women, they have dove, for example, Maria Paula Quintero has dove from 27 meters in the past, but the point being is being able to dive from 27 meters across 8 competitions, across 4 dives, there's more muscle mass with the men, so that's really all there is to it. It's just slightly larger muscle mass, being able to handle the impact. It's got absolutely nothing to do with skill. I did say this in the last show, and I would argue that, for example, Rhiannon Ifland is probably the most skilled cliff diving athlete in the world, period. So the skill is the same. It's just a little bit more muscle mass with the men. They can withstand that impact over time.
Super impressed with this young lady, by the way. 21-year-old Simone Leadhead, new permanent diver on the series. 6th appearance, and she got 3rd place at the opening stopping Greece. First podium for her, and really, again, shook some heads. Reminded me of kind of a young Rhiannon Ifland. And
incidentally, she was in the mix to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
had it been, a few more half points there, I mean, we would have seen Simone Leadhead, winning the competition. So once again, this highlights how deep the field is, the up-and-coming generation
and how
is
deep.
Here and now and ready to impress the crowds and impress the cliff diving scene.
The water only about 7 meters, so between 16 and 20 feet, Joey, depending on the tide. So it's not that deep.
No, and so there's a lot of planning that goes into making sure that you have the correct water depth when you're dealing with ocean tides. After the dive, I'll talk about that. So forward 3 somersaults, half twist.
Leadhead, beautiful form. Wow, just nailing that entry into the harbor, Joey. I mean, 0 splash on that. And we talk about traditional diving and everything. Everybody looks at the splash thinking that's the only thing that matters. It's not. I mean, impeccable form in the air. Beautifully done by the youngster, Simone Leadhead, the youngest here actually on the female side at 21.
And she talked about that's one of her main attributes, that she has that really strong technical diving background. So her takeoffs, when I say the takeoff, how she leaps from the platform, really strong, good technique, beautiful position in the air, just a little bit short of vertical. And we were talking about the tides before. Good scores from the judges.
Yeah, we'll get you up to speed on the judging real quick, all right? There's 5 judges, all right? They give a score between 1 and 10. The high and the low are tossed. The remaining 3 are multiplied by the degree of difficulty. So Leadhead coming in, you'll see right here, with those 3 8.5s is what she'll keep. So multiply that by the degree of difficulty. She'll get an 86 in yellow. Her first round dive was a 45.50, so they're added together.
Yep.
So her second round, after the second round, she sits at 132.20 in points in the #1 position. Now, Ellie Smart, just to read her score for those wondering and want to get caught up, 106.20 at this point. Ellie Smart's in second, but it's 4 rounds of diving.
And you might also notice at the end, you're talking about the first round score, you'll see it's quite a lot lower than you'll see in the second round dives. That's because the degree of difficulty tariff is much lower or fixed for the women.
Madeleine Béon of France. It's only her 3rd ever World Series appearance. Joey, take us through the mind of somebody who's sitting here in Boston. We've got 1,000 people down there watching right now. More are coming in, and it's your 3rd stop ever.
I think she's settling into a group now. I think the first competition is always a hard one, because you don't know what to expect. There's all the people, all the staff members and coaches and divers.
Yeah.
There's a lot to take in, so you've really got to make sure you get focused and concentrate and stay in the moment.
Kaboom! So Béon of France, the first French female ever to compete on the Red Bull Cliff Diving Series, dives in, and one of the questions, Joey, is what was it again? Does the degree of difficulty? So when we say DD, by the way, that's degree of difficulty, and that's said in a lot of different sports.
Yeah.
DD, skiing, snowboarding, gymnastics, everything DD. Now, the degree of difficulty will increase as the competition goes on, right? We're in round 2, round 3, and 4. When they get to choose which dive, especially in round 4, we're going to see some of the big stuff.
Exactly. So we've got fixed degree of difficulty in this round, 3.4. So you can have a dive under that, and you'll only get, let's say you do a dive for 3.1, you'll only get that. But if you reach 3.4, you'll reach that. But if your dive is more than that, it'll stay at 3.4. But the next round will be unlimited, so it doesn't matter. There's no cap on the degree of difficulty. So if you can do a front 4 somersaults with a half twist pike, you'll get 4.4 degree of difficulty.
Look at that beautiful shot right there. So the women's platform you see below the men's, and the women's platform, once again, 21 meters, 70 feet off the water, off the harbor. The men's above that, 27 meters, 90 feet. We'll see them shortly as we are just getting right into the women's competition. In fact, Maria Paula Quintero is 4 to go of 12 to bring you up to speed if you just joined us. And then we'll get into the men's round, which is 12 men in their second round of diving. So round 2 and 3 live right here on YouTube. And then tomorrow, round 4 will take place on Red Bull TV, 1:05 p.m. Eastern, right here in Boston, 7:05 CET over in Europe.
Okay, Maria, back 2 somersaults, 2 twists.
There you have it. Nice.
Yeah, great job. And I'd like to say with these particular dives, so you're doing back 2 somersaults with 2 twists, and these are the dives that you have to be very careful with. So sometimes when you're doing the more difficult dives, you can jump to the platform, maximum height, maximum rotation. But a dive like this, you have to be extremely careful to make sure that you jump it up and don't rotate too fast. So you need a lot of poise and a lot of control on those dives. Intermediate round we're watching for the women.
It's kind of funny, Tammy was weighing in here on remember, you guys can comment on YouTube. We're looking at as much as we possibly can right here in front of us on YouTube, on the chat in the chat room. But said aside from what the divers do, she's fascinated with how the judges judge and has to require a sharp and precise eye. And she said, that's too much pressure for me. And that is actually a really good point, to be honest with you, because that free fall as Quintero comes in with a 1:14.80 and moves into second place with lead head in first. But going back to the judges, that's not easy, Joe. You've judged some events before.
Well, it's almost,
and it happens quick.
It's almost like being an athlete. You have to perform. And so you do actually feel the pressure, in particular, if you've been a diver and then, you're used to being judged, and then all of a sudden you're judging your peers or your fellow athletes. That can be actually quite difficult sometimes. But yes, to answer the question, there's not a lot of time to get it right. But with years and years of experience, you do get accustomed to what the takeoff should be. So the judges are looking for a good distance from the platform. It shouldn't be too far away, And of course, it shouldn't be too close to the platform. It should be nice and high from the platform. Form is really important. You want to see those nice pointed toes. You want to see the feet arched over, not flat. Legs together.
Morgan Herculano from Switzerland right there, the 24-year-old Harvard grad. She's actually, which is right down the road.
No, it is kind of convenient, you know what I mean?
She and a few of the fellow divers were over there practicing earlier this week. And just let the viewers know and remind the viewers, Joey, this is a very casual broadcast, us YouTube live, very fun. We're just keeping it loose.
Yep.
A lot of the questions that come in, we might not be able to answer all the technical questions, but when we get into our broadcast tomorrow, Joey gets all technical and stuff, guys. He gets all super, super technical for all you tech geeks out there who really want to know the numbers.
We'll have all the heart rate. So that'll be the fully pledged show. So this is what we call our little warm-up. Just get our shoulders warmed up for the show tomorrow.
But it is cool to be able to show you guys live coverage here on YouTube of round 2 and 3. So that's been a request in the past. Now you've got it. But I've got like a very casual Joey and Trace now. So 83 comes in for Herculano, who's actually making her debut on the Red Bull cliffdiving. I forgot to say that. So
been part of the World Aquatics competitions in the past. Morgan Herculano.
Gidi van Katwijk, in her first stop of this season, joins us here momentarily at the top. So that's the athlete warm-up area on top of the ICA, the Institute of Contemporary Art building here located in the South Boston Seaport District.
Great
Hey,
shots.
we're talking too much. We're burning all our stuff.
Yeah, dude.
You need to lay out a little better, all right, buddy?
Yeah. Okay, let's button it up.
I gotta text somebody.
I can't stop talking. I love talking.
I have to get a Red Bull in here. That wasn't a pitch. I really do have to get one in here.
Yeah, so if anyone's hearing us, can you slip us a nice old Red Bull?
I'll shoot a text right now. All right, here's Amy Harrison, the NCAA All-American 3-meter springboard diving champ back in the day. Joey can touch on how that relates to cliff diving here momentarily, but you see the safety divers down below.
Big splash going on there. Once again, helping the athletes see the surface. And let's break the myth. It does not make it any softer. It's still 71 kilometers per hour. It's a tough impact. Need a lot of leg strength, arms above the head. So she's going to go inwards, in towards the platform. Great inward double half for Amy Harrison. And she was diving in BC, so West Canada. And definitely had to shake things up a little bit, decided to pack things up. Got in the car and then drove all the way down to Fort Lauderdale. That's a very long drive, by the way.
I just ordered our Red Bulls. All right.
Okay, thanks for Trace. Thanks for taking care of it. That's great. Where's my panini? It's not Italy.
How did we get started?
Burgers here. That's
there's
right.
like massive cases of Red Bull outside of our thing. We can't. So Amy Harrison, she got the attention from all of us when she broke out that quad half. Sorry if you already said that. In Oslo several years ago. Remember that?
She debuted that dive, so the first woman in the world to do a running front quad somersault in the pike position with a half twist, so a trailblazer. She was a great springboard diver, as a matter of fact. Didn't really come from platform diving, or didn't do a lot of it.
Here we go. Her good friend Ellie Smart. They've got a place down in Fort Lauderdale where they're both training.
Diver shack, I'm
Yeah,
going to call it.
You don't want to be a fly on the wall in that place. All right, 66.65 on that second round dive. Remember, all scores are added together. So only 2 rounds have happened so far. Well, we're in the second round as we speak, okay, to get you up to speed. Harrison moves into second with a grand total after 2, 119.95. Glad to be back with you guys. There's Orlando Duque, the legendary pioneer diver with 13 world titles. He's our World Series sports director who does a very nice job. And who also does a nice job, David O.C. David O.C.
I don't mind a bit of David O.C.
I like David O.C.
He goes good.
Where is David O.C.?
We love the Irish.
Why am I talking like that? I'm talking like you.
Well, no, you're not talking like me. You're
Talking like an Aussie?
Something.
No, you know what it is.
Mixed up the accent.
I get it all messed up.
That's all right.
All right.
top of the morning.
We'll bring David in a second.
We'll watch.
It's like watching
there he is.
Rhiannon up there, peering down. And now it's Maylee Carpenter on the platform.
Maylee Carpenter
Do you
got
know
her
what,
first
lads,
podium
what I
here
always
2
say
years
is-
ago. Go ahead, Dave.
What I always say, lads, is when you're here and you see the dives in the hotspot and you see the divers' reactions, that's when you know when a dive's really good. And we'll hopefully see that a bit. But yeah, I'll give you a little bit of a tour. What would you like to know about the hotspot? I can show you. It's a busy old place. Behind me there, we've got the news. You've got loads of various important people, but none more important than the divers. So look at their little setup here. It's actually really cool. They've got a hot tub, a cold plunge. They've got it all. So
That's a full-looking hot tub there, Dave.
I'm going to try and catch up.
It's like a cliff diver soup. It's like a cliff diver miso soup right there.
They got good filtration going.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to try and get in there anytime soon, if I'm truthfully honest. But nonetheless, so I'm joined here by someone who's still on that platform a little bit. I don't know if you remember our old friend Steve LeBoux. Steve, how's it going?
It's going, man. Glad to be here. Glad to be here on the other side of everything, really enjoying what's going down here.
Does it take the pressure? Obviously, you're not competing, but is it nice to be here and not have to deal with the pressure and just kind of enjoy it as a spectator?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anytime you're not losing sleep over what you have to do to compete, right, you're able to kind of step back and look at it. But, you know, that being said, on this side of it, it's just different nerves, you know what I mean? I get nervous for these guys up there. I want them to do well. I want everyone to be safe. So, yeah, just some different nerves, but by and large, able to step back and just enjoy the show here.
All right, so Steve, once Xanthi dives, you can talk us through a little bit of an insight for us.
Yeah, let's have a look at it here. Super tidy dive right there by Xanthia. Definitely like visually struggling with that fear of heights, right? So she's been up there battling that. Super strong takeoff right there. Looked like maybe the arms closed just a little early. Can't quite see entry here. So could have maybe gone down a bit better. We'll see what the scores pop up. Probably looking at like 7.5. And there they are right on the money. Looking good. Nice dive, Xanthia.
So you spoke about kind of that fear, and does that happen to a lot of divers? Is that a common thing?
Well, I think, you know, everybody battles their own fears in their own way, right? But by and large, we are all dealing with this fear of being up there and having to hurl ourselves off, right? And that's what makes us family. We overcome these fears together. I mean, being scared of heights, this might not be your ideal sport, but Zanny seems to make it work. She's doing well up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully she continues to go on quite well. Now, I suppose the vibes in terms of here, having the support, I know the crowd tomorrow is definitely going to build. Does that make a difference as a diver when you're up there on that platform?
Yeah, I think a lot of these divers, you know, they're professional. They're going to come in and do their best every time. But when that crowd is there, the energy goes up, the vibe goes up. Absolutely, the athletes are feeding off of that crowd energy.
All right, brilliant. So he's up next. We're actually joined by her last week or 2 weeks ago in Athens on our TikTok.
Yeah.
So she's been doing quite well actually.
Yeah, Ginny's great. She's training us with us full time down in Fort Lauderdale, and we've really seen her consistency go through the roof. And I mean, we believe she's ready for a breakout podium here. So let's keep our fingers crossed, hope for the best.
So when you started things in Fort Lauderdale, did you plan for it to become somewhat of an epicenter for high diving?
Well, I think that was always the goal. I mean, there was just so many people involved with, you know, the construction of everything and getting that up and running. But I think by and large, everybody wanted it to be, sort of this mecca for high diving. So we're happy to see, you know, a large percentage of these athletes come through the facility before these events, and we're able to just help them out on the way.
All right, sweet. Let's watch Jeannie's dive here.
Ginny. Sorry, I have to taper my excitement there. That was fantastic for her. That's what we want. Yeah. So really great takeoff there for Ginny. We've been working hard on her angle of takeoff and maybe not coming around the corner quite so much. So that's looking a lot better, and we got a great entry through water there. Hoping the scores pay off here. Let's see.
So, Steve, I have to ask, you definitely look like you still have the passion, the enthusiasm. Do you think we could see you over there with the judges sometime soon?
It's a goal. I would love to be over with the judges. I think, it's right now really focused on the coaching. They're doing a really great job of developing the judges. There's judging clinics, so, people can learn. I hope to be there someday. Yeah, for now, I'm really enjoying the passion of coaching.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest. Cheers, lads. Back to you, Joey Trace. And I'm going to just indulge in the sunshine here in the diving.
It's great, Dave.
Martin, our producer, was actually saying he needs you in the hot tub, actually. So you might want to try to indulge into that.
That's an order.
Yeah, it's a make or break on the next gig, by the way, if you don't get into that hot tub.
I might just touch on what Steve LeBeau was actually talking about. It's quite interesting being a coach. He was actually saying that it's almost as nerve-wracking coaching the divers as it is being the athletes, and particularly when your athletes are actually doing a new dive for the first time. So quite often the coaches have to call a diver out of the dive. For example, if the diver's doing a front 5 somersaults, often the divers will say, hey, can you give me a call? Which means like a bit of a vocal hop. So you'll hear the coaches yell at hop, and that's the point where the diver should come out. Normally the divers will feel the right place to come out, but it is a bit of a safety call, let's kind of say. And Rhiannon Ifland, that is one woman with great aerial awareness, ramping up the crowds before her dive. 7 times King Kaikili Trophy champion.
Yeah, right, 7 times. Just to break it down, for those who might not be familiar with Rhi, she's the GOAT of women's cliff diving, right? Best of all time. Today is her 45th World Series start, the most of any other female. 35 victories. 42 podiums. So she is clearly the one to beat, but it's
also the most
of everything.
Yep. So Rhiannon forward 3 somersaults with a half twist. Her intermediate round. Great tall posture.
And there you have it. Oh. Did she even hit the water? I didn't see anything. Unbelievable. Rhiannon Ifland putting it down once again. Round 2, more rounds to go. We'll talk about the youngsters putting pressure on Rhiannon Ifland, though, Joey, lately, including Molly Carlson, who we'll see shortly.
And that is a very good point. So Rhiannon is also looking at doing new dives. So she did try out a new dive yesterday for the first time. So she won't compete it in competition here in Boston. But she knows that the up-and-coming generation is hot behind her heels, coming up there with high degree of difficulty. So she knows she needs to step up the DD, as we say, the degree of difficulty. But the advantage that Rhi has is her mental capacity, her capacity. And
look at those scores. Wow.
Typical Rhi.
Yeah, standard Rhi style right there. 93.5 on that second round. So, Joey, what would you say is a high score for this second round? Is that up there? Like, what are people looking for? Over 100? Right in that range?
Yeah, exactly. So, in general, and if you're actually just looking at the judges' scores, that's the simplest way to actually look at it. You're going from 0 to 10. But obviously, she's scoring 9s there, and that's exactly what she needs to do. And once again, Rhiannon, just want to highlight how mentally strong she is and how she can handle some pressure. But here is a newcomer to the scene, Kaylee Arnett.
Look at this. Look how chill Kaylee is in her debut on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. That's how you get it done as a rookie on the tour. 31 years old, Texas born. I met her parents yesterday, nice folks. I said, are you guys scared to watch her dive? And they're like, oh no, it's pretty fun. Right, hey. Safety divers.
There's Carlos there at every single tour stop. Eagerly awaiting Kaylee Arnett's rival in the cliff diving scene. Has competed in World Aquatics events.
Oh,
wow.
there you go.
In front of the home crowd, performing in style.
Look at that.
Hey, okay.
Super cash. She actually competed in rodeos as a youngster growing up in old Texas.
That's why they're not worried.
Yeah.
They're like, they can handle bulls.
Yeah.
You can handle those heights. But she placed 4th in the World Championships, the World Aquatics World Championships in Doha this year. And that was a big field of athletes. But she's an excellent diver. And also in the round tomorrow, we'll see a dive. That will be debut. The first time we've ever seen a reverse triple somersault in the pike position in the history of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series.
All right, so coming in with a 79.90. Now get back up to speed for those of you who just joined us. We're live on YouTube. We're in women's round number 2. So Kaylee Arnett, United States, making her debut on the World Series. There's 11 to go of 12. So we're about to wrap up the women. There are 5 judges. They score between 1 and 10. And the remaining 3 are multiplied by the degree of difficulty. Right now it is Ifland, the GOAT, in the lead with 155.90. Arnett, who you just saw dive, moves into second. How about that? And Van Katvik of Netherlands, we saw earlier in her first stop. She's in 3rd right now. So good women's competition brewing.
So there's a question here, and they're asking, what is the purpose of the towel thing, as they say in the question here?
A chamois.
And you can see there, Molly Carlson's got the shoes and her chamois tied up into the shoes. So now, we call it a chamois. It's just like a car chamois. It's used to dry your legs. So in particular, when you're doing the tuck positions, the tuck position is when you're in that ball shape. Let's say you're doing an inward triple half tuck. You want to be able to hold onto your shins nice and tight and with grip. So if your legs, for example, are wet, maybe there's a little bit of sunscreen, a little bit of oil on your legs, you can slip out of the dive. And we have actually seen that, or I've seen that in major diving competitions, athletes slipping out in the middle of the air and they've crashed. So it's very important. Some of them use a little bit of resin on the legs as well to gain some grip. But now, it's Molly Carlson. Wow. Wow.
There you go.
Smoking the entry.
Molly.
She is on fire at the moment. Of course, winning the very first stop in Greece, and she's just come into this competition looking in fine form. And that duel between Rhiannon Ifland and Molly Carlson is set to be hot for the trot here in Boston.
Molly only started this sport, cliff diving anyway. She's dove for a while, but like cliff diving actually got serious about it 4 years ago and just stormed onto the scene quickly. The champion track and field cross country runner in high school back in the day. And she's from Canada, so we said, hey, what are you into ice hockey? She said, no, I actually kind of suck at ice hockey. So, sadly, she said.
But she watches it with a keen eye, of course.
Speaking of big sports, the Celtics.
How cool is that?
Again,
being in Boston.
Last night, big win in Boston last night. The Celtics.
Yeah, they crushed it.
So congrats to the Lokes. All right, big heart by Molly Carlson, who is the final diver in the women's round 2. Now, round 1 happened yesterday, but that also counts and is added to today's score round, or today's rounds. We'll wrap up. We'll see Aiden Heslop, her boyfriend right there you see, in a minute. Coach Steph next to her in the black shirt, and we'll get into the 12 men in the second round. We're live on YouTube. Go ahead and weigh in, you guys, on whatever questions you might have and comments. Have fun with it. We're looking at as much as we possibly can. I'm Trace Worthington. He is Joey Zuber, the Red Bull cliff diving expert. And Molly Carlson will get a couple 9s to keep. She'll throw away a 9.5. That is absolutely huge. And she will move into the lead with a 159 over Rhiannon Ifland here in the second round. A lot more diving to go, Joey.
Looking pretty tight too, so 159, Carlson and Ifland 155.90, so not too much in it. So it will be a tight composition, but of course we still got 2 more rounds to come. And that's where you'll start to see the leaderboard start to change when you do the optional dives. So some of the divers are not able to do as difficult dives as others. There's a great view there through that little perspex glass looking at the diving platform. Beautiful weather here in Boston.
Those who just joined us, that is the ICA building, the Institute of Contemporary Art, where the Red Bull cliff diving platforms are built upon. Those large pillars. We'll get into the men. Beautiful shot of the Boston Harbor. And the men now 12 in total. They've already taken their first round. That was yesterday. And that platform, Joey, here we go again with the measurements for those new to this sport. 27 meters, 90 feet. And 90 feet is a big reason why they're landing feet first versus head first. And we're going to lay out for a minute and just let you enjoy the sounds and the natural sounds in the backdrop and the divers. The next two anyway. Geraldo Martinez, only 21 years old, making his debut on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Following him, you will see Miguel Garcia of Colombia. Enjoy. So back to the top of the platform now for our next diver. After we just saw Braden Rumpet.
Best name in the business.
Rumpet. But how about Jolto Martinez, the youngster in first place right now with a 139.60. And right now we have Jolto, Braden, and then Johnny Paredes now stepping onto the platform. 27 meters, 90 feet above the Boston Harbor here in the Seaport District. Welcoming you back in. Trace Worthington alongside Joey Zuber live on YouTube. Round 2 of the men underway. After this, round 3 for the women. Be live for that, and then round 3 for the men. Tomorrow, it will be the men and women, women's and men's, excuse me. Women go first tomorrow. 1:05 Eastern.
Jonathan Paredes, also a holder of a King Kaikili Trophy, 2017. His intermediate round dive. Oh,
There you go, Johnny.
down.
Yeah, Johnny.
Down it goes into the Boston Harbor. The Ripmaster, the Stylemaster. See you later. Just disappeared in the water there.
We've been saying that forever, but it never gets old. Johnny Paredes, the Ripmaster. Again, when you talk to any athlete out there, I read all these bios and stuff. It's so cool to see all of them say, who would you want to land in the water like? Johnny Paredes? Who else? I mean, that or Gary Hunt.
Yeah, he just understands. I mean, there are just some people who just get it, right? They've just got that natural ability, that fluidity. Like, it just looks easy. It comes easy to him. He really understands how to adjust. Look at the visuals. So sometimes you have to use the visuals in front of you, the scuba divers, the water spray. So his ability to see his surroundings and judge how far he's got to go while he's flying until he hits the water and what to do with the body at the right time is key. And when you're traveling at those speeds, it really comes up quickly. I remember diving from, let's say 24 meters and then making that leap up to 27 meters. I could not believe how quick the last 2 to 3 meters was, when you could really start to feel the wind pick up, and it was really difficult to make those last adjustments, particularly from those heights. Great shots, huh? Wow.
Johnny Paredes in his 70th start on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. That's more than anyone else out here in terms of starts of people not, today, competing today.
Yeah.
And once again, a reminder, this is the 100th anniversary start of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, since it all launched back in 2009 at a place called La Rochelle, France. And this guy right here, love watching him, Carlos Jimeno, 34 years old, of Spain. What do you like about this guy's diving, besides everything?
What I like is just the energy as well, the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And I love particularly the dives that he's doing in the optional round 3 and round 4, those quint somersaults, back 5 somersaults, back arm stand 4.5. He took a bit of a hard landing in training yesterday, came up pretty short, so they had to be dragged back to shore for a little bit, but he was A-okay. Here he is, fighting fit.
Carlos Jimeno drilling it into the harbor for his second round dive. I saw a little, Naked eye here. I saw a little split in the legs, Joey. Maybe you can break that down if it actually happened. I don't know. It happened so quick. But
The other thing too, and
I saw something in there.
well, that's an interesting point as well. Like, we're looking at the sport from different angles as well. So sometimes from the front, from the side. So the judges will always be at the side of the platform. So judge number one usually starts right in line with the platform, and that allows them to see the takeoff, the distance from the platform, and to see if there's any split of the legs in the air to make sure that they're nice and vertical. Well, they're not always going to be completely vertical.
All right, Jimeno with a score of 82 on that dive. Remember, the first and second rounder added together, the 147.20. Where's Dave OC? He's down there somewhere. Are you in the hot tub, dude?
Hello, everybody. I'm not in a hot tub. There's, I'm staying dry for right now, but there's this talk of maybe getting in it. As much as I love the company in there, I don't know about the water.
Dave,
I don't know. Was our producer Martin serious about that?
Yeah. Of course, yeah, he was dead serious. He was dead serious. Maybe grab some chlorine and throw it in there beforehand. I don't know.
Dave, you're upside down.
Why are you upside down?
Dave, you're upside down.
Come in my ear. Oh, I don't know why I'm upside down.
Oh,
there he is.
For those of you,
I don't know. You were upside down, dude, for a little bit.
Martin has come in my ear. Well, I wasn't in Australia, but yeah. So, producer Martin has come into my ear and he said, "No, Dave, I want you to get in." So, we're gonna see. But I've got lots of, as you can see, I've got camera equipment.
Excuses. Come on.
I'll go in after this next dive. We'll have a watch of this and then I'll consider it.
It's Alexei Prigorov. He doesn't need any silence, dude. This guy's been doing this forever.
Up to your knees, it'll be fine.
I'm going to be honest. I'm just trying to put this whole thing off. 'Cause I don't know.
Alexei Prigorov.
Hey,
Yeah, forget about Dave. Let's go back to Alexei.
Hi, Mom.
So I've got Johnny, Paredes, Carlo, Meno. So the lads have asked me, Joey and Trace want me to get in this hot tub.
Oh, really?
But I'm in all my clothes.
Bring them in. Or you get it?
I'll dabble my feet in if that's all right.
Oh, okay,
Oh, this is warm, guys.
It's warm. It's warm like Mexicans.
Me gusta.
But why is it warm like Mexicans?
Johnny, how's it going out there? The Rip Master, lovely, incredible dive as well.
Yeah, pretty happy with that one. You know, yesterday wasn't the start that I was hoping, but today just making a better dive. Super happy for that and just hoping for the best.
And talk about, you're now the most experienced diver on the entire panel. 70 starts. Is it still as exciting as before?
I mean, to be honest, it's not that much, you know. Eventually, when you're growing up, you are more scary, you know, like every time it makes it a little bit worse. But in the end, yeah, the experience counts a lot, and just hoping for the best.
All right, well, good luck.
Thanks, Dave.
As much as I'm enjoying this lovely warm hot tub, it's actually quite nice here. Hopefully, Martin, that means I can keep my job. But yeah, pretty good
You
fun.
did a nice job, Dave. You did a nice job, and good job getting out of there with no porta potties close by and Alexei Prigorov getting in there, if you know what I mean. It's a good job getting out of there quickly.
He's there. He's just getting a suntan right now.
All right, thanks, Dave. Take us somewhere next. Go find something else. Bring us into. As we look at Miguel Garcia, folks, back to the top of the platform. We're live on YouTube. Round 2 of the men underway so far. Trace Worthington sitting next to sport expert Joey Zuber. Thanks for hanging with us. Second stop of the World Series here in Boston. The 100th anniversary stop of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. Miguel Garcia dropping in. Great men's competition going so far. It was an awesome women's competition earlier, Joey, but wow, everybody's lighting it up so far as we've seen, and it is perfect weather outside for that. You know, as we like to say in sports that have good weather, there's no excuses for the divers or any athletes for that matter.
No, there isn't. What I like about Miguel Garcia is he's really stepped up his game. He also learnt the back triple quad in training yesterday. So each year he's like saying, do you know what? I'm going to try to push myself, learn new dives. He's a very stylish diver, and that was a great inward triple half tuck. So when I say triple half, that means a triple somersault with a half twist at the end. So that's some kind of trampolining lingo mixed with the cliff diving lingo.
Just to get you up to speed on the scoring once again, 5 judges. They're right there close by. You see them actually on the other side of Miguel right there. And the 5 judges will weigh in between 0 and 10. The high and the low are tossed, the remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. All 4 rounds are added together, and we're only in round 2 for the men. As we look at the United States, David Colturi, a guy who got his start here in Boston back in 2011, I believe it was, where he got his start. Really made an impact, been one of the phenomenal, legendary divers since that time.
And actually, he was there just to train as part of the warm-up, and then someone actually had to pull out injured, and then he got the shoe in at the competition, which was obviously a complete honor for him, and that changed the trajectory of his cliff diving career.
As we look at James Lichtenstein of the United States, also from the American squad. 2 Americans represented. James is the only permanent diver amongst the U.S. on this series. Solid diver, 3rd place at the last stop. James, beautiful in the air. Look at that entry. James Lichtenstein, the 29-year-old American, crushing it into the Boston Harbor.
James Lichtenstein on fire. Doing a fine job. I love the takeoff. Gain a triple. What is a gain a triple? Reverse. Triple somersault in the tuck position, using that trampoline experience and that diving experience, combining the 2 sports together, you get the mismatch, and then you get the sport of cliff diving. We salute to James. Nice little fist pump, and he knows it was a good dive. That's the interesting point. When you hit the water and you're nice and vertical, you can hear those nice bubbles that kind of whoosh past your ears, and you can feel that rip entry. And let me tell you, when you're not vertical, you also feel it as well, and not in a good way.
Got a question from Chad Perry.
Oh, from Chado?
Yeah, from
I don't mind. Oh, I'd love to hear from Chado.
Chad, he said, which divers are the most fun to be around? Now, of course, you're going to say you.
Yeah, myself.
But you know these divers well. As James comes into the 164, moves into the lead, by the way. But no, all of these divers are really fun to be around.
I was going to say, you can't pick one.
But I mean, come on, pick a couple. Give us the inside scoop, Joey.
I mean, there's some that are pretty silly, pretty funny.
He's pretty funny.
I mean, Alexei's pretty funny.
Yeah. Well,
no, but they all love to joke around.
Cost is pretty intense, all right? Super good guy, but he is an intense trainer who you're looking at right now. It's Konstantin Popovich, the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series champion from last season. He's next to dive. But this guy, I mean, you showed up at the hotel the other night. You were like, guess who I saw in the gym? When you were filling your water bottle there.
Yeah, exactly. I did go to work out. I just some water and and there was stuff.
But I mean, to answer your question, like for me, like Molly is always super bubbly to be around. Ree is funny because she's just Ree. She's hardcore, like funny, and just says it as it is.
Well, I think the point of it, the typical type of athlete personality for cliff divers, I mean, they have to be very sort of gregarious, quite outgoing. I mean, they're adventure-seeking people, so they're the type of people that end up getting attracted to doing these type of sports. So we actually did do a bit of athletic profiling. It was interesting talking to the Chinese coaches, and we always ask them, what are you looking for when you're looking at the junior athletes? And they say naughty boys and talkative girls. It's true.
Yeah.
And we couldn't believe it. We thought there was going to be some sort of technical answer, but they look at the athletes that like to talk a lot. They're a bit annoying sometimes, they said, but they're the athletes that you want. You want gregarious athletes, and they need a little bit of, let's face it, a little bit of risk-taking. This is not a sport for everybody.
Romanian shark. This guy just rips. Watch this. You guys have never seen him before. Check this out. How fast he twists, how fast he spins into the water. There you go. I mean, just beautiful diving. Excellent skill set there by Konstantin Popovic. It just makes him so unique. What makes him stand out the most? I mean, you have to have that teeny little bit of edge over the others when it comes to this sport, Joey. What is it that he brings?
Well, one word I would use to describe Konstantin Popovic is dynamic. If you look at the way he dives, some of the divers are very smooth. They're very kind of smooth between the transitions of each maneuver. You see the way he takes off. It's really powerful, really aggressive. He snaps into that pike position. Great scores there. Very explosive diver, extremely athletic. So each diver has their own characteristic, but I would say dynamic, powerful, and determined.
Somebody did ask who is the tallest diver. If we didn't answer that question, it is Alexei Ponigarov, right?
Aiden Heslop.
Oh, Aiden's. What is he? 6'1"?
Aiden's about as tall as I am, so he's about 183 centimeters.
Yeah.
So Alexei is tall, but he's not as tall as you actually think. So no, Aiden Heslop is the tallest diver. And when you are taller, it does mean you have to work a little bit harder in terms of the rotation, but he does an incredible job, particularly doing the front quad with 3.5 twists. So sometimes the divers that are a little bit, you know, if they're a little bit shorter, yes, they can get into the somersaults a bit quicker.
So we do the heart rate normally during our main broadcast, which will be tomorrow. We're having some fun on YouTube live today with round 2 and 3. But when we do the heart rates, which is really cool that we brought into the broadcast, that'll happen tomorrow when we are live on Red Bull TV. That event begins 1:05, round 4, 1:05 p.m. Eastern time here in Boston, East Coast United States, 7:05 CET, so Central European time. You get all that heart rate info, all that stuff and technology tomorrow. David Kulturi, great dude, been on the scene for a long time, one of the hardest workers out there. You would talk about personalities and everything else. Dave's the guy that comes up to you, gives you a big hug when you arrive, and he's got a smile on his face all the time.
I like his hair.
Yeah, he's got to let that thing down a little bit. For those who don't know Davey, it's that Sammy Hagar look, that Sammy Hagar hair.
He's featured in some shampoo commercials.
And he's like, you always talk. He's been saying that like 5 years, Trace. I'm like, yeah, no. Yeah. I don't. You still look like him.
Yeah. No, great guy. The Americans going wild there. Big cheer for David Kulturi. Big fist pump. Very athletic. Really deep into his nutrition, his exercise training regime. Good buddies with Kathleen Preda. Did some fantastic athlete project, or that athlete project that they did in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Loves a bit of adventure, so sometimes we're doing competitions diving from the platform, and sometimes we're doing athlete projects out in the wild.
All right, so Dave Kulturi after his score, 88.2. So Kulturi with that will move into third place, just one spot behind American James Lichtenstein. Popovic still into the lead. Let's head down to Dave O.C., who's with Molly Carlson, and she's going to take us through her boyfriend Aiden Heslop's dive. Dave.
Yeah, so I'm in Camp Aiden down here and joined by none other than Molly Carlson. So Molly, first questions first. Are you more nervous for your dive or Aiden's?
Always Aiden's. Like in the moment, I can really find my zen, but for Aiden, I'm not in control, so I'm freaking out.
So talk us through right now, like, is he nervous or is he cool, calm and collected?
You know, this is the intermediate round, so Aiden always likes the harder dives, so he actually gets stressed for the easier ones. He doesn't show it, but he's a little bit in his head right now, but he'll know it to do.
All right, well, hopefully this one goes well, and then tomorrow he can just chill out, enjoy it. But yeah, we'll let you talk us through it. Give us that real inside scoop.
He's smiling. He's smiling, you guys. It's a good day. He's about to do an inward triple half tuck. So a perfect intermediate dive. He gets in one of the smallest tucks I've ever seen. It's actually really cute. I'm like, babe, that's the best tuck on the tour. Okay, he just threw his chamois down, so getting in the zone. They didn't play his heart rate. That's nice. He doesn't like hearing it. All right, just ask them to splash, turning around. Arms are up. It's go time. Come on, Aiden. Yes, perfect time. He'll be so happy with that. He'll be so happy. Great takeoff, great come out. A little fluffy on the bottom, but so good, so good.
Happy day. Do you think if you told him this morning that's how the dive would go, he would have taken it?
Oh, absolutely. No, you know what? He's a little perfectionist, so it's 10s or nothing.
He's 8-10 instead of 8 in.
8-10. That's
Hey, Dave.
so good.
All right.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah. Go
Dave,
on, Trace.
What's can you ask Molly what fluffy means on the landing?
Yeah, is that technical?
Okay, so Molly, Trace and Joey have a question. When you say fluffy on the landing, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, I guess for regular people, you're like, what is fluffy? Let me get in the camera here. Fluffy, it means that you hit the water vertical, but there's just a little bit of water that comes up still, so we call it fluffy instead of sucking the water down with you.
Is that the official technical term?
That should be. I think it's the cutest word. So when you don't rip perfectly, it's fluffy, you know? It's cute, it's fluffy.
All right. Well, one more dive to go. But anyway, thank you so much, Molly. Good luck in your next dive, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, there you go. We've learned a class with Molly. We got to enjoy Aiden. See there now, she's giving him a little hug, and it's all good vibes down here, lads.
That it is. I think we're going to put fluffy in the commentator's handbook. Make sure that we all use that word correctly.
I like that, fluffy. I'd be like a tsunami.
You look
if I
fluffy
hit.
in the morning.
I'd be like a tsunami if I hit that water.
Kaboom! Big Manu, as we call it. The Aussies and the Kiwis call it.
All right, who do we have now? Nikita Fedotov. Love watching him dive.
Nothing wrong with a bit of Nikita Fedotov.
Yep.
That's the new dive.
He wasn't in Greece, so now he makes his debut this season. He's been around a long time, but it's the first stop for him this year.
Epic shot of the platform, 90 feet high, 85 kilometers per hour, 55 miles per hour for the impact.
And Fedotov delivers a nice one there. A lot of fluff.
Oh, I wouldn't say too much. No, that wasn't.
Like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it was
came
quite
out. Like
sort of
fluffy.
Yeah, it was at the end of the night, but it was a very nice dive.
It was like more
There's
fluff
a bit more
than normal.
fluffy stuff happening in my hot tub when he stayed over there, let me tell you. Him and Alexei Prigorov, oh, they're never coming back. That's it, they're banned. No, the two of them together. Very, very funny characters indeed. Very exciting athletes. Nikita Fedotov. Got that. Who does he look like? Who's that? He's got a bit of a rock star look, right?
When he lets the hair down, he kind of looks like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, a little bit. You know.
Yeah.
Runs like him, that little pigeon-toed thing.
Wow, a couple nines in there. Check that out.
Nice.
So Fedotov now, just to give you an idea on the leaderboard, Fedotov just moved into second place behind Popovich. So Popovich with a 170, Fedotov with a 169, Heslop with a 164. Now we are in the second round of the men with one diver remaining. That's Kathleen Peretta. So all 4 rounds count, folks. We are live on YouTube right now. You can weigh in on the comments. We'll do our best to answer them. But we're wrapping up men's round 2 here in a second. We'll go right into the women's round 3, back into men's round 3. Then tomorrow, we'll be back with you on Red Bull TV 105 Eastern in the United States, live for round 4, 7:05 CET, Central European Time. And that is a nice little view of how divers get to the platform there's about 100 steps before that.
We did that for our little TV things the other day, to go around and around and around and around.
But this is how they look out, Joey. I mean, you've been in this position. How freaky is that when you're looking out out into the water?
It's kind of spooky when you're walking down the platform as well, you know, because you feel really exposed. As you're walking down, then you just peer over to the right, like, wow, there's the actual concrete underneath you, and then you get to a certain point, and then you're over the water. But it's pretty daunting. It's one thing looking at it, of course, on a TV screen, but another thing standing on the platform. Let me tell you, you'd be quaking in your boots standing there.
Oh, beautifully done that right there by Katlyn Peretta.
Well, that man wasn't quaking in his boots. He looked all confidence. Powerful takeoff. Looking the part as well. Digging the beard, digging the long hair. Quintessential cliff diving athlete. Very, very technical diver.
So a lot of good scores coming in for Katlyn Peretta as we are live once again on YouTube, wrapping up men's round 2. And then we'll go into women's round 3 live. So if you guys want to tune in Red Bull Cliff Diving's YouTube page, and you can see the next 2 rounds live with Joey and myself. All right, so Peretta, good men's competition. So it's Popovich with a 170 who will lead after the second round of the men. Benetov in second, not bad for a guy who's making his first appearance of 2024. And Katlyn Peretta, who we just saw, the other Romanian shark, 165.60.
Always the first competition that you have of the season. It's a difficult one, so sometimes got to shake off that competition rust.
So the women's start list for round 3, it's reverse order. So after 2 rounds of diving, they'll add the scores together, leading into the 3rd round. So the lowest scores will dive first, and that in Herculano, Switzerland. Xanthia Panisi will run number 6, and then you get down into 7 through 12. So Maylee Carpenter in the United States will dive 7, and then you get into the top 3 with young Kaylee Arnett. She's in the mix, putting pressure on the big names. Wow, good for her in her debut on the World Series. Rhiannon Iflin will run number 11, and then Molly Carlson, the top seed coming into the 3rd round, she will dive last.
And keep an eye out for Kaylee Arnett. I dare say a very, very, very talented athlete. She's got the capacity to perform very difficult dives.
It's just for visual
a lot of
acuity,
experience performing
so you
in
can
shows.
really see exactly where that
Great to
entry
see
point
her
is and right where
part
we
of
want
the
to put our
Cliff
feet
Diving
on
World
the water.
Series.
That's what it's for.
Well, David,
So if you just joined us,
good luck with our
Trace Worthington,
Thank you so much.
Joey Zuber. We are live from Boston for the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. This is stop number 2 of the 2024 season, and celebrating stop number 100 since the launch back in 2009. And we are live getting right into women's round number 3, then men's round number 3. And you guys can tune into, if you haven't already, or pass along the information to your friends, tune in live to Red Bull Cliff Diving's YouTube channel, and you can check out the next 2 rounds. Beautiful day in the Boston Harbor area in the Seaport district, and the platforms right there built on the Institute of Contemporary Art, the ICA building.
Very good.
Very
Done
cool.
your homework.
All right, tune in, you guys.
I want to be in that apartment building. That is the place to be. What prime viewing to watch.
All right, as you can see on the screen
Red
right
Bull
now,
Cliff Diving
you're
Tour
about to
stop
get
here
a
in
QR
Boston.
code, but right there, scan it. redbullshop.com. That's where you'll be able to get all the cool merchandise that you've been seeing here over the last few hours. But then tomorrow, surprise, surprise, we'll actually have a physical pop-up for you to grab some merchandise as well. So like I said, make sure you're scanning that QR
So
code.
huge crowd on hand here in Boston. A lot of energy in the city of many, many sports, big sports, including the Celtics with the big win last night here in downtown. The streets were hopping. That win over the Mavericks to start off the series, the finals.
Got to say, it's a great vibe.
Yeah,
I absolutely love Boston. Every time I come here, and I'm reminded of what a great city it is.
People are showing up.
Great sporting capital.
And the divers are bringing it.
And just to throw some things into the mix, a bit of cliff diving amongst the basketball. Quite a contrasted sport. Madeline Bayon doing her visualizations, preparing for the dive. So we're about to see the optional dive, so the more difficult dives.
I was holding on for dear life. I wasn't even on the platform. I was just on the roof. I was holding on, but I'm...
So visualization is a very
incredible
important aspect of the sport, being able to picture the dive perfectly in the mind. So you see the athletes physically block through the dive as well as mentally.
You can see when we talk stories of apartments and comparing, when you see the platform in the background, right? You have a, you can see the 5, 6, and 7 stories high.
So it's the equivalent of a 9th-story high-rise diving from the 90-foot platform, the 27-meter platform for the men, so 9 stories high.
It's a beautiful area, Joey, rapidly growing as one of the most vibrant areas in Boston, this Seaport district area. There's so many cool shops, served as a major trading port for the English colonies during the 1600s and 1700s. The ships carrying commodities often made their way through Boston before traveling down the east, and now so much stuff is transformed into this area, and now we have the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series and stop number 100 taking place.
And incidentally, so this is obviously the first settlement here in Boston, and the ship, the Mayflower, actually sailed from Plymouth in England, and that is Aidan Heslop's hometown, so there's a little bit of trivia for you. So when you go to Plymouth, you actually see the Mayflower ship that did that journey to Boston. So a very historic city.
Yep.
Making history with great cliff diving.
I just love the massive glass walls.
It's cool.
For that panoramic view on this ICA building. Fans will be packing in tomorrow again, folks. Saturday on Red Bull TV. 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time here in Boston. The final round will go down. 7:05 CET, Central European Time. So tune into that.
We got to keep it interesting, right?
As Joey and I take you through live for the 3rd round of the women, followed by the men. So here is Morgan Herculano, the Harvard grad. She's actually working there now at their business school. Spoke to her the other day. She's busy. She took, degree in economics. She's got a degree in all kinds of stuff from Harvard. So,
and now it's time to get busy cliff diving. And the graphics on the screen will tell you what type of dive they're doing. Morgan will be performing a back 3 somersaults with 1 twist. So the degree of difficulty 3.9. To remind all of the viewers, the judges are looking at the execution only, not the difficulty of the dives. So 5 judges, highest and lowest scores discarded. Remaining 3 scores added together, and that gets multiplied by, in this case, 3.9, and that will give you the score. Of course, the harder the dive, the more somersaults and the more twists, the higher the tariff. When you do that, the higher the tariff, the more risk. So it's risk versus reward. I hope good scores from the judges with high degree of difficulty. There's the feet there, half on, half off. There's grip tape on the end of the platform. Make sure the athletes don't slip. It's kind of like a sandpaper surface.
He goes to Morgan Herculano of Switzerland, getting some experience on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. This her debut and the first Swiss female ever to compete on the World Series.
And folks, the more difficult the dive, usually the more difficult it is to hit the entry. So you're trying to pack in as many somersaults and twists as you can, opening out quite early in the dive there. You can just see her just a little bit rounded. So the key is to be as straight as possible. So you want to be like a ruler, right? Or like a knife. And imagine, let's say, like you put your hand out, okay, and if your hand's a little bit bent and you push it against the wall, it's going to fold. But if you keep your arm or your fingers and your hand straight and you push against the wall, it's going to stay strong. So you need to be straight and strong to cut through the water to get those no splash entries.
58.50, see that yellow, so that's her third round dive score. So you add all three together so far, 141.50 for Morgan. So 4 rounds of diving, all 4 counts. Final round is tomorrow. If you missed the results from round number 1 or 2, go on to Red Bull Cliff Diving's website to find all the details and information of what the scores were in those particular rounds.
And just type in Red Bull Cliff Diving and you can see a results tab. So click on the results tab and you can follow the scores. Of course, we'll give you the links to the live feed as well. See the athletes getting in the zone there, starting to feel nervous. You're always nervous when you're diving from these heights. And there's that added pressure of the difficult dives. The biggest fear for the athletes, Trace, and to the viewers is losing your orientation in the air, and it does happen. Every single diver, when they're learning dives from the lower heights at your local pool, at some point has got lost. Come out in the dive in the middle of the air and then had a bit of a bad landing. So it always plagues the mind of the divers.
Madeleine Bayonne of France. So there you have it, Madeleine Bayonne, the 26-year-old French diver in her 3rd ever World Series appearance and the first French female to ever compete on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. 3rd round dive for Bayonne.
So rotating forwards there, they start with the arms above the head. And there is a reason for that. So when they start like that, with the arm above the head, what's there? It allows you to throw forwards. It's much like throwing a soccer ball. So you throw that ball, you throw the arms that forward, that helps generate that angular momentum. So you need a little bit of forward lean to start the rotation. And of course, once again, the athlete's landing feet first. As part of the rules in Red Bull Cliff Diving, you're not allowed to dive head first for safety.
5 judges score between 1 and 10, the high and the lower toss, the remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. So Bayonne with a 62.70 on that 3rd round dive. You see that in yellow. Then you add all 3 together, 168.65. So she's in the lead. One of the questions we have for you, Joey, how do they calm their nerves before they execute the dive from the platform?
Excellent question. So now, number 1 is preparation. So you need to do the work leading up to the competition. The more preparation you do, doing your dives on the lower heights. For example, if you're doing a triple half, you need to be doing a front 2.5 somersaults over and over and over to make sure that you're confident with your aerial awareness. That is one way to help calm your nerves. Orlando Duque on the screen, the sports director. And also breathing is incredibly important. So making sure that you diaphragm breathe to slow the heart rate down. And you know, tomorrow we'll actually see the heart rate, how high it actually goes. So it's very important to do that visualization as well. You need to picture the dive perfectly in the mind. So there's many things that you need to do to make sure you feel calm. But let me tell you, you never feel 100% calm when you're standing 70 feet up on a platform above the Boston Harbor.
All right, Ellie Smart of the United States has a little work to do. Heart rate right now is 129, 130 range. She's going down, which is impressive. It's fluctuating.
So resting heart rate is normally for most people around 60, maybe 50 beats per minute. Marathon athletes around 40. A little wobble in the handstand.
So Ellie Smart putting one down there. And Ellie Smart, tell us how difficult that is. The arm stand dive, Joey, you're 70 feet off the water, and one little breeze, one little gust of wind.
And that's the point, and you can see it just overbalancing a little bit. And of course, when it's a very gusty day, that is not easy. Just standing on the platform in its own right is always scary. And then you've got to do that handstand skill. And when you do the handstand dives, that means that you get more degree of difficulty. So that's why she's choosing to do that dive. Ellie Smart coming up a little shorter vertical, when I say short, so you can see the landing is a little bit more on the chin and the chest, so pushing away from the platform, wrapping into the twist. Arms coming out wide to stop there. Aiming to land vertical, and that's called shorter vertical. And if she went past that vertical line, that would be over in diving terminology.
That's our coach. So here's a good question from our viewers. By the way, we are on live on Red Bull Cliff Diving's YouTube channel, and you can weigh in, and we'll do our best to read some of the comments and questions that come in. Do you need tickets for this event? The answer is no. It is free to the public. So come on out tomorrow if you're watching this and you're not out here already, and come out and check out the best of the best cliff divers in the world in round number 4.
And let me tell you, there's nothing like seeing cliff diving in person. It's, of course, impressive and always incredible to watch on television. But live, nothing like it. Okay, front 4 somersaults. In the tuck position with a half twist. The tariff is 4.0. So when you see the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen, when it comes up next time for the next diver, pay attention. It will tell you how many somersaults, which direction they're going in, and what position they'll do the dive in, and how high the tariff is. So when you see that little line climbing up towards the red, that's you see the dive getting to its most difficult point.
That was her stepfather, Miguel Garcia, on the men's side. Okay, coming in a little bit short, Joey, on that one. You can break that down as I've now learned what that means because I've been commentating this for 10 years.
Yeah. But you can see also the reaction on Miguel Garcia, who obviously coaches Maria quite often as well. You can see that little squint, and he's like, it's not quite what we were looking for. But nonetheless, a very, very complicated dive, fitting in a lot of somersaults, so 4 somersaults in total. Incidentally, Maria Paula Quintero, the first woman in the world to do the front quad half. Grabbing onto the shins there, that's why it's important to have the chamois to make sure you don't slip out of the dive. Kicking out here and just running out of a little room, so perhaps you could have stayed in that shape a little longer to maintain the rotation. So sometimes they end up landing shorter vertical for a number of reasons. Perhaps you needed a bit more speed and power on takeoff, or you can alternatively hold on to that tuck position a bit longer to make sure you continue the rotation.
5.5s across the board is what she'll keep. The remaining 3 multiplied by the degree of difficulty. So 180.80, or those multiplied by the DD. So Quintero looking solid after her 3rd round dive. Amy Harrison from Canada. 4 rounds of diving. We're in the middle of the women's round number 3. Then we'll get right into the men's round live here from Boston. And remember, come on down tomorrow for round number 4. If you're watching this and you're close by in Boston, event is free to the public. Come out and check it out. No excuses, by the way. The Celtics don't play until Sunday.
Right.
So if you want to get some sports, and not that there's no other sports going on in Boston, but
yeah.
you come down
and
watch some cliff
diving, a little bit of partying, and then it's going to be a little bit of basketball, folks.
There you go.
That's what you need to do.
Good trifecta. Okay, Amy Harrison, looks like some of her training down in Fort Lauderdale has paid off. Her good friend Ellie Smart is digging that one. Great dive.
Ellie Smart liked it, giving the lungs a good test on that one. And so the athletes have great camaraderie. They all support each other, and every single athlete understands what it's like to stand on that 21-meter platform, 70 feet up, 10 G-forces upon impact. And if you're wondering how deep the athletes go, well, it's usually around about 4 to 5 meters, the water depth here. At the moment should be around 6 meters. It is tidal, so the water depth will vary. And they have to get the timing right, so the competitions are held near high tide. If it was held at low tide, we would not have enough water depth. So it's crucial that we hold the competition within a certain time frame.
Yeah. Harrison with a 72.15 on that one. So she'll move into the number 1 spot with 192.10. A lot of people do ask us too, it's like, talking about cliff diving. We're not typically on a rock cliff at the moment. These events have happened. We're on stop number 100 since it launched in 2009,
Yeah.
Joey, all over the world. So what it's become is to bring some of these divers and the diving talents into these urban areas, which has been really cool to do. So diversify, sometimes off the rocks of Portugal. In Beirut, we were off that whole monolith. And, to bring it here into Boston, into the urban setting is pretty cool, too.
Yeah, and that allows the, as you're saying, the spectators to see the sport up close and personal. So we started the season in Greece, which is a fantastic off-the-cliff location, and this season we'll see some off-the-cliff diving in Ireland as well. So it's great to have that combination of the natural environments and the urban settings.
Xanthia known for taking a while on the platform. Some go quick, just want to get it over with. She'll stand there a little bit longer.
People just need
That's her thing.
to find the right time and feel when they're ready to dive. So inward triple half pike.
I just get up there and go.
That was usually my style. I'd rather not think too much.
You were just trying to get to the pub.
That too.
All right, Panisi, let's see if her patience pay off there. A little bit of heavy landing in terms of the splash, but good in the air, Joey. Xanthia Panisi, the 25-year-old Aussie, who was 5th place at the first stop in Greece and had a fantastic season last year with 4 podiums and 5 stops.
Now Xanthia did a great job with this dive. So it's an inward triple. It's a very difficult dive because you have to stay quite close to the platform. Beautiful pike position in the air. But what I did notice about the dive, Trace, and the viewers, is that she did just start to move back a little bit too much. Only fractionally, so just scooted back a little bit. And what that means is it makes it a little bit harder to finish the dive. So if she could have stayed a little bit closer to the platform, just a little bit, it would have been easier to finish the dive and perhaps get a bit more of a vertical entry. So the takeoff is incredibly important, and that definitely relates to how the entry will turn out.
Panisi will pull into the lead after 3 rounds added together, 2:02.45. Curious of the viewers who are tuning in and weighing in on our chat room of where you want to see the Red Bull cliff diving event take place. What country, what city, whatever you want. But weigh in and let us know what you think and where we should go next. We went to Athens for stop number 1. We're here in Boston for stop 2 as we look at Meili Carpenter of the United States getting ready to launch. Stop number 3 is next, and that's Polignano Amare, Italy in June. And then the Causeway Coast of Ireland, okay? Then we go to Norway and Oslo, so we're back into the city, and then back into Montreal, Canada for the first time ever. We have an event in Canada. That'll be fun in Montreal. Then Antalya, Turkey, all right, September 29. And then Sydney, Australia, Joey, for the final stop. So let us know where else we should go.
I think in total we've been over 30 different countries, right? In the history of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series.
Here's Meili. Love that twist in the middle.
Whoa.
What a beautiful dive.
Meili Carpenter, she went after that takeoff. Absolutely drilling the entry. Barely anything left behind. The disappearing act. Nice.
There it is. There it is.
Boom.
I remember she placed here and placed 3rd here. This is the first podium, actually, of her career happened here in Boston.
It was. That was a memorable moment for Meili Carpenter. And we're talking about how some divers like to take their time and some divers like to get after it. Meili Carpenter wasting no time, raising the arms up, full power into the pike, into the twist. And has done quite a lot of climbing in her time and also has a gymnastic background. She likes the adventure sports and having that climbing background does help her calm the nerves when standing on that high platform.
On the lower left, that's Ginger Huber putting up that 7.5. Ginger, one of our World Series divers for years. We chatted with her yesterday. She actually had the first women's perfect 10 as a score in
Jordas. The off the cliff round, actually. Beautiful flying front it was.
Got some new locations going for us, Joey. We have Mackinac. Is that Mackinac? I don't know. France. We do have an event in France,
yeah,
Julie. Paris. We go there once in a while. We were there last year, the year before.
So we've been in Corsica, La Rochelle in France, but there's more locations in France.
Paris isn't happening this year because there's some big event there. You know what that means.
Yeah. Brazil.
And
I've done a location check in Brazil. Brazil has some fabulous locations. We went to a place called Buracau with these beautiful, beautiful waterfalls.
Belgium, Dakar. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That's interesting. Somewhere in the Middle East. I mean, Oman was a fantastic location that we went to in 2012. Went to a Wadi Shab, which is kind of like an oasis.
Are there any cool dive spots in Belgium? We do see a lot of Belgium in there.
Any cliffs in Belgium, Pete?
I don't know. Tell us.
Send us tag us with some pictures. We need to see the photos. We need to see the evidence. Or do we need to build a pool and dive off a famous monument? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I like the natural landing zones, personally. Simone Leathead, talked about her earlier. She's going to be one of our threats on the series after that third place finish that she put down at the very first stop of the season in Greece. Super confident young woman. You see it in her diving, 21 years old. Still competes in 3-meter diving, so you know some of the divers come from different backgrounds, gymnastics, and you know Rhiannon Iflin from trampoline, and she's got springboard diving background, and it's not too easy to roll up and be a cliff diver, Joey. I would imagine from all these different areas, you have some skills and some fundamentals, but now you're on this platform in the middle of Boston, you know, 70 feet above the water, 21 meters.
And incidentally, Konstantin Popovic was actually trying out for the Olympics. He was training diving full-time, 75% of the time, and then doing 25% cliff diving. It's not easy to mix the two sports. The foundation of cliff diving is, of course, still diving.
All right. It continues to show consistency. Maylee Carpenter, you see right there, warming up. She's in the lead with a 2:23.0 after 3 rounds of diving. But we will see what the judges think of young Simone Leathead of Canada.
But I will tell you what I think. I love how she really goes after the dive. She just looked really confident, business-like about the takeoff. She's like, right, stand backwards, get my feet set on the board, boom, jump, lift the arms up. And just a little hunched on entry, so she could have been a little taller, a little straighter. Good, powerful takeoff. The judges like to see that. Good form. You can see how the legs are together, the toes are pointed. Look at the eyes, keeping her eye on the prize the whole time. The front somersault with a half twist at the end is called the Barani. Making sure you keep those eyes on the water as long as you can to make those final adjustments. Great diving by Simone Leathead.
Coach Steph giving her some pointers for obviously tomorrow in round number 4 to 12.15. That'll put her into second behind Carpenter. More places that people want to see us bring the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series. We have Fiji. We have Detroit.
Edinburgh.
I think Detroit would be cool,
Scotland.
actually.
Let's go to Scotland. Let's just go and freeze our butts off. That sounds great.
Alaska, Hindenburg. Yeah, there's some good spots, actually.
Romania.
We will be in Canada.
First time.
Well, we should go to Romania. We got the Romanian Sharks.
We have to.
Some of the 2 best guys on the series from Romania.
The Nederlanders, the Netherlands. They're actually our internet guys. They should be here working. What are they doing out there? Hey, guys, the internet's working.
Jeannie van Katwijk. I had to ask her earlier. I'm like, just can you say your name a few times? I'm able to pronounce Jeannie van Katwijk.
Jeannie doing her last block throughs, her visualizations before the dive. Got an arm stand dive here, so arm stand forward, 2.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists. It's a new dive for Jeannie.
So crazy. Oh, wow.
Okay, so Jeannie has to walk back. That's what you call a balk. So if you press into the handstand and if you come back down, or if your feet touch again, it's called a balk. So there will be a 2-point deduction from the judges. The judges, when she goes next, they'll still judge the dive and give it the scores. Then the referee will minus 2 points off the score.
Some people still talking about Canada as a dive spot. So again, Montreal, Canada. First time the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series will be in Canada. That'll be August 25th of this summer. Looking forward to that one. All right, let's go, Jeannie. See if she can do this. So nerve-wracking, but impressive that she's stepping up the degree of difficulty like this, Joey. That's so cool.
Brand new dive. This is really not an easy dive. Big DD, 4.2.
There you go,
Whoa.
get it done. And with that,
Wow.
a beautiful entry, Joey. And you know, you have to hand it to her. It's like, I could just do a regular dive, do the same old thing and super safe. And she's like, you know what, I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna push it a little bit beyond my limits. I love it.
I tell you what, I got to give Jeannie props. A, she's doing a handstand.
Whoa.
B, okay, now this is
That's
where
when she came back down.
So once the feet touch, that's it. Boom, automatic deduction. But kudos to Jeannie. Okay,
Yeah.
new dive, arm stand dive, gets back up after doing that balk, and then performs a dive like that with a great entry. So great job for her. A little disappointing, she'll lose those 2 points. This is very difficult to generate rotation with forward arm stand dives. If you do a back arm stand dive, actually it's a lot easier to generate rotation. You'd think forward would be easier, but it's not. It's so hard because you have to press into the handstand, bend at the waist, and use the arms to push away from the platform. So I have to say, I'm actually proud of Jeannie Van Kutry for doing that dive, and there's her partner, Matt Cooper, as well.
Matt competed in Greece. Fun watching him dive. Steve Lobu, who helps coach a variety of athletes there. Former World Series diver. So Van Kotwick with a 2:03 will be in third place after the third round. Melee Carpenter, as you're looking at there, from the United States, still holds on to the top spot after 3 rounds of diving. And here we go again with Kaylee Arnett. Yeah.
I like it. We've got some style. We've got some moves. That's cool, okay? If you look at the graphics, you can see it's an inward 3 somersaults with a half twist in the pike position. 3.9 DD. DD means degree of difficulty. And Kaylee maneuvering the safety divers into the position she likes. Grabbing the chamois. Last minute dry off. There's the American flag. Flows for the American Kaylee Arnett. Let's see if this dive flows. Whoa.
There you go.
That was awesome.
Kaylee Arnett. We talked about competing in rodeos as a young girl growing up in Texas. Having some fun.
Kaylee Arnett comes bursting into the scene. And as I said earlier in the show, we've been waiting to see, or eagerly awaiting to see Kaylee Arnett. She's got a lot of experience performing in shows around the world. Got a great technical background. Tomorrow we'll see a reverse triple somersault in the pike position. The first woman in the world to do this in the history of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, incidentally. Beautiful throw, backing off just a little bit, but the pike position, look at how flexible she is. The head is right against the shins. That is the brani, the somersault with the half twist. standing nice and tall and getting the job done with a great entry here in Boston.
Wow, bunch of 1.9 up there, so she'll toss that as the high, throw out an 8.5 as the low. That is an impressive round of scores right there by the 5 judges. So Kaylee Arnett with a 99 on that will move into the lead when you add the first 3 rounds together. 246.95, and she's with Dave O.C. down there on the dock.
I'd like to say well, I've been here for a long time. Can you talk us through getting that call and what it's been like?
Well, yes, I've been high diving for about 7 years now, just in diving shows, but this is my second ever competition doing high diving. And it is a different vibe competing than doing shows, but it's really fun. The first one is always a little bit like, I'm nervous, but after that first one, I'm like, just another day at the office.
And I love the way you're up there, you're dancing, you're having a good time.
Yeah.
Is that like a tactic to calm your own nerves, or is it genuinely just pure passion?
I'm always dancing, always dancing. It keeps things loose, keeps things fun. It reminds me not to take it too seriously. You know, we're here like floating on this earth rock. What is this existence? Like, don't take it too seriously, man. Like, just go have fun.
I love that analogy. Well, thank you so much for your time and good luck in the next round.
Thank you.
There's our new Jessica McCauley.
Yeah. No, but I like the attitude. You know? Try not to take things too seriously. We are here on this earth to have fun and enjoy the experience, and she's really embracing the moment.
Now, Ree takes this very serious because she does like, you know, to win these events, but she also is pretty loose about things as well, which I love to see about Ree. Is she's been chill, and it's paid off. She's smiling right there now. Maybe she heard us.
No, but I love how she engages the crowd as well. You know, gets pumped up. She always takes a moment, stands on the platform, takes in the scenery, takes in the environment. She understands this is a privilege to be here. You know?
She did tell us, though, that she's more scared than you would think, right? Like, right now, she's kind of doing this a little bit, but she is having fun, and it's been so relaxed. The 7-time Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series Women's Champion.
But I have to say, I did do similar things on the platform as well. I like to engage with people. I just like to do some things just to kind of, make it feel a bit more fun and try and settle the nerves a little bit as well. You can see quite a bit of bandaging on the legs as well, so that tells you how strong the impact is.
By the way, Arnett, who you see there, is in the lead with that 246.95 after 3 rounds in her World Series debut. Not bad. Following her, can you imagine being a rookie? Like, this is my first competition ever on the World Series, and Rhiannon Iflin's diving right after me.
Got Rhiannon's inward triple half tuck, her favorite dive. Average scores on this dive. 9s from the judges. That's a hell of an average, let me tell you.
Oh. There you have it.
And keeping that average up, let me tell you.
All right. Woo. Still holding on to her supremacy.
But Ree would have felt the pressure there, and Kaylee had an excellent 3rd round dive. And Rhiannon Ifland says, okay, here I am, I'm ready to dive with my inward triple half, standing tall. Really good rip entry. I mean, everything from start to finish looks solid as a rock. Powerful takeoff, neat and tidy tuck. That really smooth and graceful Barani, the last part of the dive. She makes it look easy. She makes it look smooth. And the whole dive looks smooth and stylish. We should expect to see some good scores from the judges.
It's 5 of them, including Antonio Martinez, Olivier Monod Ricard of Canada, Ginger Huber, as I mentioned earlier. Is it Egil Omasan? Is that what he is?
Egil Omasan.
Valerio Palazzo. Look at that, bunch of 9s up there for Rhee, 98.05. So she'll move into the lead with a 2:53.95. Now the point of the third round, Joey, obviously to pad the lead as much as possible because tomorrow's scores are just added on top of it. So, you know, it's like, baton race when you get out early and
it's a different setup or different format from last year.
Yeah.
Normally on the final day they would be doing 2 competition dives. Now they've just got the 1 competition dive, so now they're 3 dives in. All they've got to do is 1 more dive.
And there's 1 more diver for the women's third round before we move on to the men's third round. After that, we wrap things up, and then we will be back with you live tomorrow. That'll be on Red Bull TV, folks, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time here in Boston, 7:05 CET in Europe. RedbullCliffdiving.com is the place to go for where and when it's aired if you have any questions.
So, very high degree of difficulty dive. Look at the graphics on the left-hand side of the screen. 4.4 degree of difficulty. See at the top there, it says front. 4 somersaults with a half twist. Aiden Heslop, her partner, nervously awaiting the dive and the outcome. Molly choosing to do her most difficult dive in round 3 as opposed to round 4.
It's cool how they communicate with the safety divers down there.
Very important, the communication with the safety divers, particularly with the running takeoff, because they need to know that they're going to be approaching it. The safety divers can't see the diver at that point.
That's their view right here.
So if they don't have that communication, that's not a good thing. To make sure you have a safe distance from the landing point.
And Molly Carlson capping off a beautiful third round. Aiden Heslop is loving it too. Molly Carlson, she's got the Brave Gang community. Just started her new company. She's the CEO of Brave Gang. It's really cool. Check it out.
Plunging into the harbor in fine form, Molly Carlson with the quad half. A big hug to the safety divers. There's so much pressure before the dive and so much relief. A, you're relieved just to do the difficult dive, and then B, I do believe that she knows she's done a great dive there. But of course, it's all up to the judges and what they think of the dive. Powerful takeoff. She has had some troubles getting the speed right on this dive. You have to be careful not to throw too hard, but not too slow. Got to get that sweet spot right in the middle. And I was talking to a coach, and he was just saying, just trying to make sure they get the dives to go up a little bit more.
Wow.
Good elevation from the platform. Sometimes the dive cuts down a bit, and that makes it harder to control the dive at the end. And she's getting a good drop on it, a good look at the water, and a very clean entry. Molly Carlson should be proud of that dive.
I love the Brave Gang community she started. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Bravery that is deserves to be celebrated at every level. Being yourself is brave, loving yourself is beautiful, and you will see that in all of her social media posts. She does a great job at that. A big inspiration and a big score. 269 flat. Molly Carlson will once again lead after round 3, coming into the big and final day, round 4.
And tomorrow will be an interesting competition because Molly Carlson will have lower degree of difficulty, but then Rhiannon Nifland's leaving her most difficult dive for last, so that'll be interesting to see how that shapes up.
So there you go, Carlson with that 269, fairly big lead over Rhiannon Nifland. Kaylee Arnett in her debut on the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series, sitting in 3rd. So the Americans 3 and 4 with Maylee Carpenter here in Boston. So the American crowd loving that as we look through 7 through 12. So there is a lot of room for improvement in the 4th and final round. And that, again, will be tomorrow on Red Bull TV, 1:05 p.m. Eastern here in Boston, 7:05 CET Central European Time. Great women's competition wrapping up from the Seaport District of Boston and the second stop of the 2024 Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series as we celebrate stop number 100 since it all began in 2009. We'll jump right into the men. And the start list, after 2 rounds, Braden Rumpet with his 126 will kick things off. He has the lowest score. Jolito Martinez, the rookie, coming in from Mexico. He'll dive after that. Yeah, Prigorov going fourth. Johnny Paredes diving number 6. We jump back into 2 Americans back-to-back with Kulturi and Liechtenstein, 7 and 8. And then Aiden Heslop, the top 3 after 2 rounds. Preda, Fedotov, Popovich with a 170. All 4 rounds of diving count. As we get ready, live here on YouTube. Weigh in on your comments, by the way. Joey and I are looking at them. I'm Trace Worthington alongside cliff diving expert champion Joey Zuber. Thanks for hanging with us so far through the first couple rounds as we get right into the men's 3rd round of diving. Braden Rumpet. So the men's platform, as a reminder, 27 meters, 90 feet off the harbor. It is only about 20 feet, 16 to 20 feet deep, 7 meters. It's a fluctuation with the current depending on the time of the day.
So generally speaking, when planning for the tide, try to start the competition an hour before high tide and finish it an hour afterwards. When you're outside of those times, the tide really starts to drop very quickly. So it's imperative that the competition takes place at the right time. Braden Rumpet with the triple quad. Now he's living in Fort Lauderdale, where he can train regularly and being able to dive from 27 meters on a regular basis definitely helps, and that showed with that dive. Came from a parkour background. Great natural acrobat. Has a great training attitude. Steve LeBoux coaches him regularly, and he just loves how he turns up to training. Like, right, I'm ready, I'm gonna do this, 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 and this. Waste no time, gets into it. And here we have 3.5 twists. Very difficult to pick the right moment to come out of the dive. That's the scary point, when you're twisting away and you hope you pick the right moment. Really locking out for the entry. To really squeeze your legs. Very common to have groin injury problems when hitting the water. A lot of body tension.
Rumpety. 2:44.0. So Rumpet will set the pace for the men in this 3rd round. Our producer, Martin, said, if we get 2,000 people that are viewing this at the same time, we're going to get our reporter, Dave O'Caoimh, Dave OC, to do a backflip.
I just think it doesn't matter. We shouldn't hit that target. He just shouldn't do it anyway.
I mean, he's like...
He didn't get in the hot tub, so now he's got to do something.
I mean, he should. He's like, oh, pro wakeboarder guy, do all his flips, and then we never see him do anything.
He wussed out on that one, mate. You know? Come on, O'Caoimh. Give us a backflip off the dock with a half twist, please.
So, Martin's listening. So when we get to 2,000, let me know.
No, we don't get that. Get in the ice bath, treatment. A little rest after that strong impact. Takes a lot of load on the body. Jolito Martinez from Mexico. Big dive here. Arm stand forward, 3.5 somersaults, 1.5 twist.
Oh, wow. Nice. 21 years old, Joey. Jolito Martinez makes his Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series debut. He told us that this is already the best moment of his career, just being entered into this event and the 100th stop in Boston.
I'm so proud to see Jolito dive so well. I spent quite a bit of time in Mexico, and I remember him in Mexico City, probably just about 15, 14 years of age. He was just a little pipsqueak, a really, really lovely young man, and to see him develop into this fine athlete and a great human being. It's just an absolute pleasure. He did compete in the World Championships in Barcelona in synchronized 3-meter springboard diving. He's got an excellent technical diving background, and he's transferred that well into the competition here, and a 9 from one of the judges.
Wow.
For
Who is that? That is Olivier Morneau-Ricard. He likes to throw up the high numbers. That Olivier.
He's proud of it too. Like
That
he holds
Olivier.
those
Oh yeah,
10s
he's
up
like,
high.
he's like,
oh, I own it.
He's like,
I own it. Yeah.
He was like, can I put my name on that card? Like, everybody knows I'm the one who gave it.
And
262.
Olivier Morneau.
So not bad, and getting some excellent experience. Geraldo Martinez, the 21-year-old Mexican, diving along with his idols here in the first World Series of his life. You can weigh in too on our comment page. We're asking you, would you rather step onto the 27-meter platform or chill in the hot tub?
Chill in the hot tub on top of the platform? Could we do that?
I don't know if you, I mean, chill in the, I get it, chill in the hot tub, like you're chilling in the hot tub.
Yeah.
It'd be hot in the hot tub, but
yeah.
I don't know, chill in the ice bath.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Right, I get you. Right, back to the heart rate. Who's diving? What's going on?
129 is the heart rate for Carlos Jimeno. We'll do more heart rate stuff tomorrow, too, on our live broadcast, by the way, on Red Bull TV for the 4th and final round. It's really cool to check out. The heart rate, see on his left arm right there, that bandage, that's where the heart rate's coming from. That's where we're getting that data, live data of what the heart rate is.
But it just tells you what's going through their mind. Resting heart rate, normally 55 to 60 beats per minute. You're getting heart rates up to, here we go, so about 117 beats per minute there. So double the normal heart rate.
Look how solid he is.
Wobbling, a little bit of shaking just at the beginning. Now he's steady. Whoa!
How do you know where you are, Joey?
Now that is the prime question, and that is the main question I get asked a lot: is how do you understand where you are in the air? How do you understand what's up and what's down? I think Carlos Jimeno had a few little issues with this dive in training. Came up quite short, the vertical. It was just a tiny bit. Saw the dive in training, it was a tiny bit slow. But you can see here at the end of the dive, he's over-rotated, so perhaps he's overcooked it a little. And that tends to happen if you've done something in training. Maybe you've been a bit too fast, maybe you've been a bit too slow, so you make that adjustment, and sometimes you can overdo it. But that's easy to do. Yeah, I think he came out of the dive just a tiny bit too late, and that carried that rotation, causing that big splash there. I mean, he's only gone past that vertical line by a little bit, but it really does have a big impact on the splash there, and it will have an impact on the scores, unfortunately, for Carlos Jimeno.
A couple 4.5s and a 5, uncharacteristic of Carlos Jimeno, who had such a fantastic last season, and 3rd place, or 2nd place at the very first stop this season, right? Carlos Jimeno will still have a 4th final round dive. That'll take place tomorrow. Going back to the top of the platform now for Alexei Prigorov, Ukraine. When you see average for first, Joey, 6.8, is that per judge?
Yes, so the average, so of course you can only judge in increments of halves, so 6.5 or 7, so let's say you would need some average 6.5s and 7s, or at least a 7 from a judge. So Alexei Prigorov, this running takeoff, he's doing the running takeoff to help him get more height and more rotation to the platform. Forward 4 somersaults, 2.5 twists.
There you have it. Alexei Prigorov.
She's like, how do I get out of this thing? I'm stuck. I'm frozen.
This water's pretty chilly too, by the way.
Yeah, it's not exactly the Bahamas, people.
We're still.
It's water for lobsters, let me tell you.
We're still at the beginning of June, so.
Alexei Prigov with a very, very busy dive. You can see the legs were flailing apart in the middle of the dive. And that's caused by that immense amount of rotation. But what it does mean, there will be some deductions from the judges. So there's the pike, and he's wrapping the twist, and you can see the legs just getting a little bit squirrely and splitting apart. And that's due to those immense speeds. So when you're twisting and rotating really quickly, that makes the legs want to pull apart. So you have to use a lot of groin strength, a lot of adductor strength to keep the legs together. So a few deductions from the judges for that.
100 on that dive. That's where you see the yellow. So that's this particular dive is 100. Then you look at the two on the left. Those are the first 2 rounds. One of them happened yesterday. One of them happened earlier today. So all 3 together, Prigov will have a 254.70. That's what he will carry into the 4th round of diving. So Miguel Garcia next to drop, seeing the lead. Martinez actually still holding on that top spot. Prigov in 2nd, Rumpet in 3rd. How about coming onto the scene and you see yourself on top of the leaderboard? At least for a few divers anyway.
I mean, how
maybe it'll
stoked
hold.
would you be?
Who knows?
As a youngster, as a wild card, you just be going, yes!
Yeah.
But there's some big dives to come.
I was going to say.
Hold your horses, folks. Speaking of big dives, Miguel Garcia debuting the triple quad. Gary Hunt, the legend, who is not competing here, debuted that dive in Turkey in 2009. Okay, Miguel Garcia getting set for his dive. Those nervous, jittery moments. Looking at the graphics. So back, 3 somersaults, 4 twists. You can see the numbers there, 5.2 DD, degree of difficulty. Needs 7s, or average of 6.8 from the judges to move into the lead. Bit of a fan squad down there cheering.
Yeah.
Cheering on Miguel. So Team Colombia
today
down on the docks.
Tomorrow's going to be packed out here, so come on out. It is free to the public here in Boston. Come on down to the Seaport District and the Harbor area. Check out the best cliff divers in the world in round number 4. Goes down at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time here in Boston. We'll be live on Red Bull TV for it as well.
There's a couple of questions that came in that did get answered, but saying, does the water splash make it softer to reduce the impact? No, it helps the athlete see the surface of the water, especially when you're traveling at those speeds. It's very difficult to gauge the entry.
Kaboom! Big splash. Love it.
Now, sometimes you can get a little bit unlucky with the entry. You can get this kind of kabooming splash, but you can be more or less vertical, but it can just be a bit of a pocket, or maybe you're just slightly sideways. But he looks very happy with the dive to debut it. Good strong jump, fast twist coming into that pike. I was talking to Miguel on the dock actually in the warm-up, and he was doing a back triple, so he would do 2.5 twists at this point. But in the competition in Greece, he actually came out of the dive late, and he was saying that he's used to doing the triple twist front, and he was getting a little bit confused between doing the triple twist and the 2.5 twist, and he thought, do you know what? I'm just going to do the back 3.5 twist because it's similar to the front triple twist, and I think that did pay dividends. It looked a lot more square, a lot cleaner. Good call by Miguel Garcia for choosing to do the new dive.
Well, an 88 on that. We'll put him into 3rd. Joel Martinez still in the lead.
Wow.
With 261.0, and Martinez will have to hold down the Mexican flag in the top spot because Jonathan Paredes, teammate and friend of his, is pulled out for this round. He's not feeling well. So that'll bring us to David Kulturi, United States. See the crowd getting pumped up for Dave. Come out and see him live tomorrow if you're in Boston, folks. He'll be in that 4th and final round Weather interesting here in Boston off the Atlantic Ocean coastline. It's a bit of fog rolling in. It was predicted to rain a bit, but that's held off. I'm sure these guys will take the fog over the rain.
It was like yesterday when we were walking back home, actually.
You thought it was smoke.
No, but it was really strange because you had this sort of mist sort of hovering between, you know, the buildings. And I was like, is that smoke or what is it? But yeah, it was like this cool kind of mist that blew through the city. So it definitely cooled everything down really quickly. Yeah, you do get those strange mist-like or fog patterns that sweep through the city from time to time.
It looks clear out there, though. Come on in. It's getting a little breezier. You can see the flag in the background. Coulthurry. There you go. And I love how he. I just love how he opens up. You know, you talk about opening up at the end with his arms. I don't know. He just has. It's like a very signature move for Dave Coulthurry. I love it.
He sort of comes out and he goes, "I'm out. I'm going to do it proudly. I'm going to show everyone I'm out of the twist."
Here's the landing zone, and here we go. And then his mom is that Denise?
Yeah, that's Denise.
All right. Hello, Denise. Hello, Mother Denise.
He's always commenting on our commentary.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Love your stuff. Not quite how she talks, but anyway, whatever.
That was good.
Not quite that high pitched, but anyway. But Dave has actually done a dive similar to this, but added another twist. So he's actually done a reverse 2 somersaults with 5 twists. He's a great twister. He'll do 3.5 twists here. I'm watching that nice, confident come out. Keeping the head always looking at the water. Those little arms come out wide as a little bit of an eagle check, I'll call it. So you need to make sure the arms come out wide to stop the twist. So it's a controlled maneuver.
All right, the judges, you're pretty low on that one, Joey. You can tell me why. I didn't catch that part.
Look, a little hunched on entry and a little bit shorter vertical. But if I can be a little bit honest, maybe a little bit too. Well, hang on. What's going on there? Okay, so a little bit of confusion about the scores there. But anyway, David Coulthurry in the lead.
Yeah, he was taking it in. The family's standing up there by the judges. All right, so Coulthurry will settle for a 273.50, which will put him into the #1 spot. We have James Lichtenstein, another American, to drop in next, followed by Aiden Heslop, Katlin Preda, Nikita Fedotov, and Konstantin Popovich. Left on the start list for the men's round 3. Then tomorrow, again, we're back live on Red Bull TV for the 4th and final round, 1:05 p.m. Eastern here in Boston, 7:05 Central European time.
A pretty exciting dive here. Back arm stand, 4.5 somersaults in the tuck position. The American James Lichtenstein.
There's a lot of drone cameras floating around, which is normal in many sports right now, especially kind of the more action and extreme sports. Would that bother you like back in the day?
To be honest, I didn't like cameras. Like if I was standing backwards, I'd always tell the cameraman to move to the side. Rhiannon's like that as well. She doesn't like the camera standing in front of her, so it can get distracting for some athletes. However, a lot of them are getting used to it now, but distractions are not ideal in the sport of cliff diving.
Dave Coulthurry, the most photogenic diver on the planet. He's in every photo.
Photogenic.
He likes cameras
as well, you know. So
he likes cameras.
Photogenic. So the hands there. Oof. Fingers nice and wide to maintain that balance.
All right, James, a lot of somersaults. His mother likes it. Dave's fired up. Great camaraderie for the American. James Lichtenstein, who continues to surprise us from event to event. Thought it was a bit of a flash in the pan result back in Switzerland when he got that 3rd place, and he has backed that up time and time again.
He is no flash in the pan. He is a flipster, a very talented man. He's like a cat. He knows what's up. He knows what's down. He always knows how to land on his feet. He knows where to kick out of the dive, and he knows how to get through the water nice and clean to impress the judges. And the local Americans, you should be proud of your boy, James Lichtenstein, counting his way. Second somersault, third somersault. There it is. Boom. Kick it up. Head comes back. That is the moment where you say, woo! Thank the Lord. I saw the water at that point.
All
Big
right.
score.
Oh,
Yeah.
big scores. A couple nines. Shocker. Olivier Bernard-Ricard gives a 9. Anyway, here we go. James coming in with a big score. He will pull into the lead by a long shot by 30 points with 304.40 over fellow American David Coulthuri with a 273.50. Karina Popovich, is that Konstantin's sister?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so she said, looks like some incoming rains flowing into that fog or whatever. She said, no problem for the Romanian shark, as it was those conditions last year. As we look at James on top of the leaderboard right now, still the drop you see down below. Heslop, Preda, Fedotov, and Popovich, who I'm talking about right now, who had the 2 highest scores in the history of the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series with the 4-round dives and also what, the required or the optional?
With the optional
With
dive.
the optional. In the rain.
In the rain. And
So
quite often you see Konstantin Popovich training in Austria at Area 47, which is pretty chilly.
Yeah.
We're talking about the temperature of the water, and he'll do it in April. In May, he'll turn up and train. He doesn't care if it's cold, if it's warm, if it's rainy, if it's windy. No excuses for that man, and that is why he's a champion.
Speaking of champion here in 2022 is Aiden Heslop. As Lichtenstein still absorbs the props from all of his teammates and coaches, and Aiden Heslop now, we'll see what he has to say about that here in his 3rd round dive. Molly Carlson, who's leading the women after the 3rd round. His girlfriend, oof, a little foggy.
And in last year's degree of difficulty formula, so the degree of difficulty formula this year in 2024 has changed. So the dive was 6.2 last year, now 5.9. The running takeoff heart rate is Jack, 145. Ready for a big dive.
What?
Whoa,
Come
boy!
I don't even know what that was.
It was just some ridiculous number of somersaults and twists. It was silly. It was out of control. It was wild.
Somebody did ask, like, how many flips can they do? Well, I mean, as many as you can pull off.
Okay, we're doing
Is
5.
there a limit?
Well, we're doing 5 somersaults. There are some athletes toying with the idea of a back 6 somersaults.
Okay.
I would say it's possible, but not easy.
Hey, this is pretty cool, too. Molly pointed it out earlier. Looks like he's having a little more fun on that platform.
He is. And we actually had a conversation yesterday, and he was talking about how he needed to change the way he approached the end of the dive. So he's lifting his arms up here. Watch how the arms are bending a little bit. He did that to help him stay a little taller. He felt like in the previous dives in the previous season, he was leaning too far forward, and that creates a very whippy dive. So it means that you're rotating really quickly, but cutting it down. By getting a little bit more elevation from the platform, you gain a bit more control, so it's not so fast and not so whippy. You get more of that smoother rotation, allowing him to adjust for the landing, and it did pay dividends, and you can see that with the scores.
Heslop, absolutely, Joey, 141.60. So Heslop, 306, not that far ahead of James Lichtenstein, by the way, but nevertheless in a good position heading into tomorrow's 4th and final round. And here we go. Heslop, Lichtenstein, and Coulthuri, your top 3 at the moment. Some powerful divers yet to drop in. Preda, Fedotov, Popovich. So once again, all 4 rounds are added together. So coming into tomorrow, it's important to get as many points stacked after round 3 as possible. As the fog rolls in here, the Boston Seaport District for Catlin Preda.
This reminds me a little bit, we did have a competition in Norway in Grimstad, which was completely covered in fog. We could actually hardly see the divers. It was just enough vision to see the landings. It'd be crazy to see how quickly that mist and fog has rolled in.
One of the comments, see the Red Bull Cliff Diving World Series and the Navy team up and have one of these competitions off an aircraft carrier. That'd be pretty cool. A little Top Gun action.
I would like to do it from the wing, you know, park the aeroplane there, you know. Do it from the aircraft carrier.
Those are tall.
Off the wing.
I bet it would work out really well. Preda mounting one into the harbor. Yes.
Tearing it up, Castle and Preda with the quad double. And he knows he's nailed the entry. Squeaky clean through the water. When you have those nice entries, you go nice and deep into the harbor. I've traveling down to about 5 meters. He's one of those divers who's so technical, so clean in the air, and a clean entry as well to finish the dive. But start to finish, all class. Immaculate takeoff, keeping the legs together, pointing the toes, holding on for that pike, picking the right time to come out of the dive. These Romanian sharks are predators indeed.
Good question here. Why do they ring the bell before the divers go? Which we usually touch on, by the way.
I just like the
you
sound
hear the
of
bell.
it.
We just like the bell.
Yeah.
It's cool. No, it's when the judges are ready. So everybody, you know, TV's ready, judges are ready, everyone is ready, and that is when you get the cue to dive. A big 9.5 up there, posted up. Olivier Ricard will be jealous of that because he didn't have the high score. Atlin Preda now coming in with a 135.15. And that'll put him into 3rd place. So Heslop's still holding down the top spot with the 306.20. But Joey, let's talk about the bell. The bell is like everything's ready. The set, the judges, television, everything's ready to go. How much time do you have to go as a diver?
I mean, it's a little bit more, yeah, there's a little bit more flexibility. In the sport of diving, there's definitely a set time limit. It's usually about a minute.
Yeah.
So the procedure is, you're the diver, you walk down the platform, you put the thumbs up, make sure the judges are looking at you, they give the A-OK sign, then the bell rings, and there's usually a set time to go in. It will vary. There's a little bit more flexibility when the weather's not so good, if there's a lot of high winds, and that's for obvious reasons, for the safety of the athletes. So pretty tight leaderboard up the top there.
Heslop and Liechtenstein, yeah, I mean, that's very tight with the top 3 right there, all within 6 points.
Yeah.
So anything can happen in this one. So weigh in on our comments, by the way, on our YouTube comment page, Red Bull Cliff Diving. Tell us who you think is going to win tomorrow, both on the women and men's side.
But let me tell you something. This is a brand new dive for Nikita Fedotov, currently the world's hardest dive, back arm stand, 4.5 somersaults pike. Atlin Preda debuted this dive in Greece at the first stop. Nikita Fedotov said, hold your horses. So he went to this training center in China and got the dive off before he got to Boston. Still, it's a very nerve-wracking dive. To rotate so quickly, you have to get the calm out right. The point of where you come out of the pike position has to be perfect. Oleg Vashivanov, his coach, he trained Nikita Fedotov in the sport of cliff diving over the years and honed his skills in, and he is pumped and stoked. And you can just see the reaction on Nikita Fedotov, laying back in the water going, whew, thank you. I'm so glad that dive went well. So number one thing is that feeling of relief and safety. I've done the dive safely. And with more time, he'll be able to get the dive dialed in and get a good entry on the dive. But he wasn't too far off that vertical line. Beautiful handstand, beautiful pointed toes. And here's the critical part, putting the head back, counting the somersault 1, little head flick there 2, head flick for 3, and then coming out. Nice. But that dive must be, or at the end of the dive, when you see the water, must come up so quickly. There's almost no time to react. But the reactions were nice and sharp for Nikita Fedotov.
Decent scores. We'll see what they do for him after this round 3. So 123 on that particular dive. You add that with the first 2 rounds, 290 3:02.60. So Fedotov, with one more diver to go, will put himself into the top 5 at least going into the 4th round tomorrow. Aiden Heslop, there's your leader after 3 rounds, 3:06.20. Liechtenstein will also be diving into that 4th round as a top 3. In the top 3, excuse me. Like he did in Greece.
Again,
yeah.
It's just...
I mean, he was at our final stop in New Zealand last year. He was actually the top seed going into the 4th and final round. So here's Konstantin Popovich. Heslop, Liechtenstein, Fedotov. Kulturi's in 5th. We'll be back with you tomorrow for the 4th and final round live on Red Bull TV, 1:05 p.m. Eastern here in Boston, 7:05 Central European Time. And those who just joined us or are curious, yes, the event for the public, if you want to make your way out physically, it is free to the public. And you can see down below, a lot of room to stand, a lot of room to spectate, come out and see the world's best women and men cliff divers.
A lot of people chiming in here in the chat. Who's going to win the competition? A few people saying Molly and Aiden will win. The dynamic duo. Lots of people saying go Costa. Go Liechtenstein as well.
I mean, Costa's a good bet.
You know, if you want to hedge your bets.
But
if you want to get on.
Let's see here. I'll have to hedge my own bets. Well, you would know about who has the goods on the 4th round. That's where you come in, Joey.
Okay, average score on this dive. So speaking of hedging bets, 8s. That's the average score he gets from the judges on this dive. So he has good results normally on this dive. Back arm stand, 3.5 somersault, 3 twists.
Costa a little bit loose in the air in terms of what I'm used to seeing. That's the problem. When you ever see a little teeny mistake in Costa, it just stands out because there usually isn't one. But Costa's not feeling it right now. You see the safety divers and exactly why they're there. That'll give you a good example of why they're there.
Yes.
But we'll see what happens, Joey. You can point that out. You've been in this position before where you kind of can point out those little details.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much. Sometimes if you can just be a little bit over, sometimes you can get like a little bit of a punch in the back. I mean, he did have a punctured lung a couple of years ago from an impact. And that shows you how strong the load is on the body. You're just slightly past that vertical line. And when you're risking all with these big dives, so much has to go right in so little time. And you can see that he rolled over. And normally you'd say, okay, there's a bit of an over-rotation. But all kinds of things can happen to you underneath the water. Your legs can pull apart, your knees. One knee can split off to the right or to the left, and you do see groin injuries, lower back injuries, neck injuries are pretty common in this sport, but definitely that's a big over-rotation, and I dare say he probably took a bit of a punch in the back there. You can see it from this angle a little better, legs splitting apart, digging deep. But once again, if you want to be the champion, you have to risk all, you have to do a high degree of difficulty. It looks like there's some sort of a problem with the groin, I dare say. The leg, and that's why his leg is bandaged up. And he did have some problems in Greece. And you have to really make sure that you're squeezing your legs nice and tight, but this is not good for Konstantin Popovich.
Well, we'll see if that's...
very ginger. Oof.
It's pretty serious if they're carrying him off, and we'll see if it's a continuation of those past injuries. But right now, it's just speculation on what might be the issue with Costa. We'll catch up with him in a bit and see what's going down. And Aiden Heslop, he doesn't like to see that. These guys are all good friends.
No,
you know, he just, you know.
You want to have competition and a fight right to the end. You don't want to see anybody get injured.
Yeah.
They're all good friends of the series.
Well, the weather held out for the gents as Aiden Heslop will be the top seed. The Brit with a 3:06.20 coming into the 4th and final round tomorrow. James Liechtenstein, top American, 3:04.40. Boston will be going crazy for that guy tomorrow. And Catlin Peretta, 300.75. So all the scores pretty tight. All the way first through 6, to be honest with you, Joey. It's not that bad. So
yeah,
it's going to be a good battle in that 4th round tomorrow on Red Bull TV here in Boston. Live at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Boston time. There you go. There's 7 through 12. See if Jonathan Paredes will feel better for tomorrow's competition. But for now, we hope to see you again for the 4th and final round from Boston tomorrow. Joey Zuber, David O'Caoimh, I'm Trace Worthington, the rest of our crew. We thank you for joining us here from Boston. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us live on YouTube.